Welcome to Truth Uncompromised. I am your host, Rhonda. Join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Truth is peace. Truth is justice and freedom to love, live, and be. Music provided by SourceVibrations.com.
There's an old friend that I want to say, something that touched my heart, and it began this way.
All right, family, welcome to the Truth Uncompromised show. I am your host, Rhonda, and tonight we have a great show planned for you. Tonight's topic is the event horizon, black holes and light, the black holes and light spectrum within you. Tonight is June the 22nd. I do want to take this time to send out do shout outs and say Ashe to Brother Prodigy from Mob Deep, who transitioned a couple days ago. So rest in power, brother. Ashe. Okay, family. So with that said, I am going to go ahead and get started. I know I saw Brother Wendell. I see Brother Sean, and then I think I see Sis. So let me bring on Brother Wendell. Just a second here. Uh-oh, you shifted there. Hey, Brother Wendell, how you doing?
I'm all right, old dude. I'm all right. Old dude just laying around cooling out.
I know that's right. I thought about you yesterday. I had a taste for some beans, and let me tell you, I soaked my little beans the night before, cooked them yesterday. Did me some, because when I cook my beans, I don't cook them with any meat in it. I use vegetable stock as my base, and then, of course, you put your seasoning in it anyhow. Made my little brown rice. I slammed Wendell. I've been eating off of them for 2 days.
Yeah, and that sounds like a winner right there.
I said, I got to tease Brother Wendell. I've been throwing down on my beans, boy. I love them. And pinto are my favorite. I think they have the most flavor, but damn, I can't take the gas. So I had to switch to the, mixing it up with some pintos in there. But I surely thought about you. I'm like, oh, this is so good. I was just missing my greens, so I'm going to have to go get me some greens soon and get that popping too. So I know it's hot, but I have a craving for them beans. I have to make it at least once a month.
I have to have me some beans year round. I don't care how cold it is or how hot it is. I got to have me some beans.
Yeah. That's how I'm starting to get. Because normally I'll do them in the winter, but now it's like I gotta have my beans. I'm like, nope. Let me get on my beans. So I thought about you. So, but I didn't get as bold as you and have my little bowl smacking on the air. But I straight got it in today, boy. I'm like, man, I got it in. Oh boy, let me bring in Brother Sean. Hold on a second, and then I see Sis. Greetings, Brother Sean. How are you?
Greetings, beloved. I'm well. I just polished off the last of my pinto beans 2 days ago.
Oh, I love pinto. Got the best flavor but I don't care what I do. I cannot get past make them so doggone gassy, but they got the best flavor. So,
how's it going, Brother Wendell?
I'm all right, my brother. How you doing?
I try to be like you when I grow up.
I know that's right.
Hold on. You don't want to be like me because I'm crazy. Something's wrong with me. Let me help you avoid that piece right there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, boy.
Hey, but
I
you're
didn't
living
know
good and you're eating good.
Yeah, I'll be the first to let you know I'm shot all the way out. I'll be the first to let you know. So you ain't got to have nobody else tell you that. I'll tell you that.
That's what's up right there.
Oh, boy. Let me bring in Sis Sandra. Hold on a second. Greetings, Sis.
Greetings, panel. Greetings, brother and sister.
Greetings.
How you doing?
I'm doing really good, and I wished I could heat some beans in my house, but it's 110 degrees outside.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask you, did it cool off?
No, ma'am.
Wow.
No. I better have some real deep pockets because I'm going to need it.
Yeah, for that burning your air.
Yes, ma'am. I said, I could see my dollars just floating out the window. They ain't in my pocket as it is, but now they really took wings and flew away.
I know that's right. Because, you know, it's a big storm that's, what is it, hitting New Orleans, or did it?
Yeah, 10 inches already.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Said earlier today. I said, ooh, who would want the rain or want the heat? Can we split it?
I know, but you know, poor New Orleans, you know, anybody that's been there, it don't take much for it to flood there because they already sit. Yeah, they already sit below seabelt, and you know, every time I'm there, to me, it smells swampy. And every time I'm there, it always rains on and off, and I see the streets fill up real quick. So, whew, I tell you, it's something about that land in New Orleans. I mean, I know it has a lot of trauma that happened there. Plus, you have a lot of folks that were practicing the occult magic, our, you know, ancestors. Whether it be, that Voodoo, right, right. So, you know, I've heard different people's versions. Some people say that New Orleans is always targeted because of all of the energy there, and they kind of get scared of it. So it's a lot of weather warfare going on in New Orleans. And then I've heard other people say because of all of the energy there and the way folks are treated, the melanated people are treated, either the ancestors rise up and cause a lot of havoc with the weather, or the people themselves, the melanated people themselves, causes a lot of havoc on the weather. So that's interesting with New Orleans.
Yeah, well, you know, they in Haiti, they say that voodoo they use over there, that's the Levites. And it just dawned on me as you was talking that maybe New Orleans have a bunch of Levites as well there.
They do, because, you know, supposedly a lot of the Haitians either migrated from Haiti over to New Orleans and vice versa. So that would make a lot of sense. And, you know, the Levites are the high priest, right?
Right. Well, they're the priest. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that would make sense why a lot of that sacred knowledge is there. I'm sorry. Go ahead on, brother.
The corporation is deeply entrenched over there now. That was the only way they got in there after causing those disasters. And a lot of them over there have switched to Christianity now.
Yeah, you mean in Haiti? Yeah. It's interesting because one day Wendell and I was doing a show, and I said, Haiti needs to rise up and get back on their sacred science, get on their voodoo. That's how you ran their asses out of there the first time.
That French government. Them French folks.
Yeah, so, they definitely should not be in the position that they're in now.
I just show you the Inquisition is still on the books.
Good point.
It's the fourth dragon.
The Inquisition is still on the books.
Yeah, the fourth dragon.
That's a very good point, Brother Wendell. Very, very good point.
You know Hillary's brother owned a gold mine over there. He's the first outsider to own anything like that over in Haiti.
Now, to show you, see, this is what, oh boy, let me get my little self together. Melanated people, we are perpetuating this hellish reality.
Right.
Because help me to understand how, you sit on some of the richest resources, but yet you allow your oppressor or just an outsider, period, to come in and benefit from the resources that Mama Earth provided for you to benefit from, to use in a sacred manner, but yet you live in poverty.
Well, it's who they have
go ahead,
over them. It's who they have in power over them. It's one of their people, but they work for the elite.
Right.
So the monies that they were supposed to get from all the disasters, the Clinton Foundation is the one who was controlling it. So
right.
They're under all kinds of control, even with people they know and trust.
Well, you said the operative word, that they know and quote quote allegedly trust.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and one of their own doing it to them. But more importantly, let's go to the science behind that, meaning folks still depending on someone or some entity to govern over them.
Exactly. Mhm.
And it's just not Haiti, but that is one of the extreme examples. We also see it here in the Americas. I had put a post out on Facebook. I can't remember if it was today or yesterday, because, as I'm going through just either posting stuff or checking statuses on Facebook or email, I constantly see on a regular basis some shit about what Trump is allegedly doing, what he ain't doing, police killings, how we're being oppressed, suppressed. It's everything is what somebody doing to us, what somebody doing to us, what somebody doing to us. And all I kept thinking as I'm scrolling through, seeing, the different folks post these things, and some of the people are offenders of posting fights and police brutality. That's all the hell they post. And all I'm thinking is, don't you understand or understand and overstand you're creating this fucking hell?
That's right. That's right.
Because that's where your thoughts are focused on. I'm like, you don't even see it. It's what's being done to me. What's being this, that. We are not the victim. You have the power. You make the things move on the planet. But if you feel that the oppressor got you, you can't get from under white supremacy, then that's the reality that you create. That's the reality that you essentially live in. And this one young lady, I'm not going to say her name, but she must have been on the same wavelength as me, because she put a post out there saying pretty much that we have got to stop this negativity and the victim, the mentality, the being anger, the hurt, etc. And so somebody came behind her and said, well, how do you do that when so much stuff has happened to us? What are we supposed to do? And she said, change your thoughts. It's just that simple. Now, she didn't go into you change your thoughts, you create your reality. And I'm like, wow. And until folk realize that you create your environment, you create your reality, it's going to continue. If you keep feeding into that shit, that's the reality that's going to be created for your world. We say that we're not falling into the system. We know what the matrix is, but yet everything that come on the television, every allegedly shooting that supposedly and allegedly took place that's involving a melanated person and a cop or something racist, we feed right into that energy and keep giving the shit life, therefore creating that type of reality.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean that's the laws of the universe.
Yep, that's that karma.
Good stuff happen all the time too, but they don't seem to focus on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, somebody doing something positive every day.
Every
you don't hear
day.
Nothing about that.
Nope. And let's say if ain't nobody doing a damn thing positive, make your own shit positive. I mean, literally, that's literally what you have to do. You have to make your own shit positive. You have to make the conscious decision that this is the way I'm the director of my ship.
Yeah.
Even if it don't look good.
Exactly. Fake it till you make it.
Let me share something with y'all that happened to me yesterday.
Mhm.
I jump on my bike and ride down to Kroger, come back.
Mhm.
Now, I'm aware of what's going on in my little apartment, right?
Uh-huh.
How about when I get back, I find a ring laying on the floor. I don't know how the hell it got in here. I don't know where it come from. But I found a ring laying on the floor. I'm like,
inside of your home, you found a ring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where it come from because I don't wear jewelry. Never have.
Mm-hmm.
And it got this little word on it. LOVE. I don't know where it come from.
Wow.
I don't know where it come from.
Wow. Perfect example. Perfect example. So you manifested something.
I don't know where it come from.
Married? Hit.
He's like, I don't know all about that. I just know that ring manifested out of nowhere.
I don't know where the hell it come from.
Window about to be on lockdown.
Oh, so
That's
all
what
of
that
your
means. You about to be on lockdown, like right out the middle of nowhere. Just gonna pop up out of nowhere. He gonna come on and tell us he didn't jump the broomstick.
I'm like, oh, brother,
No, cuz that shit ain't finna happen. I'm telling you that now.
You just saying that the ring just came for another purpose. Wow.
I don't know where it come from. I just send it to the side. I'm gonna let it sit right there, and I'm gonna let it stay there, right there. I don't know where it come from.
Yep, absolutely. It's interesting because a good friend of mine, we sat back over the last, I want to say, 2 months, and went back over the things that we have been creating. And within those 2 months, everything that we put out there to create has either happened or in the works of happening. So I'm not up here talking out of my ass. I practice what I talk about.
Right.
So, again, it what is your focus? Like I said, if you're the only one being positive, that's the reality that you choose to create for yourself. So that's a very, very interesting thing, Brother Wendell, about that ring. Of course, to me, that's no coincidence whatsoever. None whatsoever.
I ain't even gonna try to figure it out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As long as
Don't
you know, that's
fast.
all that matters.
Don't run too fast, brother. Just let it catch up with you.
I ain't going nowhere. Hey, I'm easy going. I'm laid back. I don't get in a hurry. Let me tell you this. I'm I guess you could call an inactive athlete. When I had to hang my cleats up in my gym shoes and my track shoes, I don't run and jump for nothing.
I know that's right.
Absolutely nothing.
Okay, now.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I'm just a regular dude, plain Jane. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Been there and done all that.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Indeed, brother. Indeed. I do want to, real quick, I have an update, and then we're going to get into tonight's topic, the event horizon, the black holes, and light spectrum within. We did, it's been a couple of months ago, a show on the true shapes of the planet and how each planet has a vibratorial rate. And based on the vibration rate that planet is at, it is actually, you can see the sacred geometric shape in that planet. And you could go on YouTube. There's a lot of videos about it, and they've even had people that have the high-powered telescopes that zoom in on the planets, and you could see the planets vibrating at that high rate, and if you slow it down, you'll see the geometric shape. So I'm like minding my business, going through the various news sources just to see where the so-called elite or the corrupt ones is more accurate, where their head is at. So NASA, never a straight answer, posted something about Saturn, and I don't even remember what the hell they was talking about because it really wasn't relevant, and they was lying through their teeth as usual. But what caught my attention, they had a quote picture of Saturn. And if you look at when they post the pictures of the planet, notice the print at the bottom of it, because most of the time it says an artist's rendition. So meaning that is not the true, quote, quote, picture of the planet. So they had the typical Saturn with the ring around it. Okay, so what caught my attention is on the top of the globe that they had the geometric shape at the top of the planet. And I want to say, I can't remember if it was a hectagon or octagon. So I'm sitting there, octagon. So I'm sitting here looking at this. I said, you mother effers think that you slick. You're literally going to put the shape, the vibratorial rate shape of the planet on this globe that you had this artist do a drawing of and have them put the hectagon shape at the top of it. I said, oh, okay. So don't think that a lot of this metaphysics stuff that is being taught, that is being put out here about the sacred sciences, they know. And as we get into tonight's topic, we'll start talking about black holes, light spectrum, and how that relates to not only us being the walking universes, but you're going to see these same concepts, not even concepts, this same sacred science they are using in everyday life. Okay, so that kind of tripped me out to see them putting that right in our face. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to start out with the typical definition of black hole. And while I'm waiting for that to come, I did go and watch the movie Event Horizon because I was trying to see if it was correlated to the topic that we were going over tonight. Interestingly enough, that was my first time seeing it. I had heard people speak on it with Lawrence Fishburne. I can't think of the other actor's name, but he's the most popular one. And so, interestingly enough, because it's like a sci-fi horror flick per se, where this scientist dude, created this particular, I want to say, time travel or warping portal where they could like jump dimensions. And so they had it on this ship. The ship's name was Event Horizon, and the ship was located right by the planet Neptune. Okay. So long story short, the interesting part about the movie, and we're going to get into this tonight, they were making it all about, this terror that's going on, there's some type of evil that this portal that came through in this portal and that wanted to pretty much stay. Now, I started looking at it from a metaphysics perspective because anybody that's seen the movie will know what I'm talking about. First of all, let's start with the terror things that was happening to the crew on the ship. They were all based on their particular individual fears. So the energy played on, or I would say, they created their own fears. So they were creating their own terrors within this ship. Okay. Another part of the movie talked about them going through the portal. And interestingly enough, when they went through the portal, of course, they had to pass through water. Okay. We've talked about that several times on this show, where the universe itself and even Mama Earth that we are on, we are in primordial waters. So they would pass through, not everybody, but some of the crew members would pass through the portal, which they would have to go through water. And then one of the crew members, I think it was the main scientist, said something about either he said black matter or dark matter came through and it's not going anywhere. And a couple of the crew members, some of the past members, literally gorged out their eyes. And even the scientist gorged out his eyes. So Lawrence Fishburne asked him, bruh, but he didn't say bruh, I'm paraphrasing, bruh, why? And basically the scientist went straight up crazy. So Lawrence Fishburne was like, bruh, why you gouge out your eyes? And he said, I can see better than I ever could. I'm more powerful, woo-woo, this, that, and the third. So again, I'm sitting there thinking, I said, okay, so basically what he is saying is he's trying to tap into his spiritual pineal gland in order to get that dark matter power, okay? And to me, he couldn't handle it. He didn't possess enough of the melanin. His pineal gland was not equipped enough as he thought it was equipped, and that's why he went crazy. And interestingly enough, the two people with the most melanin on the particular ship, which was Lawrence Fishburne and the other brother, he played in a lot of stuff too, I can't think of his name, they were able to overcome any of the psychological warfare energy that was being perpetuated on the ship. Everybody else really struggled with it. So I'm bringing this movie into play, although they put it out there as a horror flick. And if you look up any reviews of the movie or look up any meaning, they will say that it meant to them that they crossed across this portal and enter into hell, when in reality what they were showing you was folks trying to tap into their higher selves and some not being equipped to overcome, to get to those higher dimensions and ultimately wind up driving themselves crazy. So that's just one example of how it is being put constantly in our face, but they use outside forces, making you think that it's something outside of yourself that you need to overcome, but subliminally, they are telling you it's all within. It's your mind over matter, not matter over mind. It is mind over matter. So if you get a chance, check out that movie. Hopefully you could see it from a different perspective, or if you have seen it, go back and give it another watch. Okay, so let me go on to the technical definition of a black hole. A black hole is a region of space-time exhibiting such strong gravitational effects that nothing, not even particles and electronic magnetic radiation such as light, can escape from it, from inside it. The theory of general relativity predicts that a sufficiently compact mass can deform space-time to form a black hole. The boundaries of the region from which no escape is possible is called the event horizon. Although the event horizon has an enormous effect on the fate and circumstances of an object crossing it, no locally detectable features appear to be observed. In many ways, a black hole acts, now I'm not making this up, y'all. I'm straight reading this off Wikipedia. You all know I always use this as a base to see what their definition is, and then we go in on the metaphysics side. In many ways, a black hole acts like an ideal black body as it reflects no light. Moreover, quantum field theory in curved space-time predicts that event horizons emit Hawkins radiation with the same spectrum as a black body of a temperature inversely proportioned to its mass. This temperature is on the order of billionths of a Kelvin for black holes of stellar mass, making it essentially impossible to observe. So I'm not going to read the rest of the definition. I just wanted to give you all a quick synopsis of what they are saying what a black hole is. So I'll pause in case anybody want to put something on it before I move on. Ooh, excuse me.
Say like a black body, huh? Perfect.
Yeah.
Black.
Yeah. A perfect black body. Sorry, family.
Or could it be?
I can't make that up.
Or could it be the perfect womb?
Very well could be.
Melanated womb.
Very well could be. Very well could be. So, you know, I'm going on about my day with just finishing up the last touches for the show. And one of the brothers that I'm connected to on Facebook, he puts out a lot of good stuff, and we chop it up here and there. And I grabbed his particular caption. It says, "I am the beast carbon, 666 melanin." And then he flipped the 666999. The color of black is the perfect absorber of light and all energy frequencies, giving black melanin these properties. Thus, scientists describe melanin as acting like a black hole. I can't make this up, y'all. I promise y'all. I was just scrolling through Facebook, saw this post. I'm like, oh, hell no, I got to grab this. Melanin can rearrange its chemical structure to absorb all wavelengths of energy, sunlight, X-rays, music, radar, and can transmute and store this energy for later use. In the ISIS papers, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing writes that melanin gives us the ability to use our bodies as direct connections with the God force, the source of all energy, like plugging a cord into a wall socket. So again, hopefully that kind of further backs up Wikipedia's own definition that a black hole is like a perfect black body. Okay? All right. So with that said, what made me even want to do this show a couple weeks ago, I don't know what I was doing. It was about 3 weeks ago. I was doing research on something else, and you know how when you're on YouTube, you get suggested videos on the side. So I got these suggested videos about black holes, and then my mind got to working, well, what really is a black hole? And so I, started just for grins looking at some of the videos, and then automatically the connection came on that the black hole is equal to the way our particular bodies work, being that we are that carbon being of that nine ether being. And then I started thinking about how our chakra centers, we've talked about chakra centers quite a lot here over the last couple months. And if you remember, we talked that when our chakra centers are balanced, they spin clockwise and counterclockwise at the same time. So as they are spinning in balance, they create a funnel. Okay? And then we talked about how each chakra center holds different types of energies based on their vibration rate. And as all of the chakras are balancing, imagine they're spinning and those funnels are creating, and then that light starts rising up that chakra center. And that is what we call the Kundalini rising. Okay, and we also talked about how those chakras are representative also of the dimensional portal of energy fields that you're able to jump through. And as you're going up that chakra center, and once you get to that crown chakra, which is at the top of the head, then you're connecting to the that black ether. Okay? So it got me to thinking, aren't we just a walking black hole essentially? And as we're balancing out those chakras and shooting up to that crown chakra and connecting to, whether you want to say prime creator, whether or not you want to say that nine ether, whether or not you want to say that black carbon melanin, that essentially you're going to the mother source as well, or mother father source, and also tapping into a black hole to get the ultimate power. And then I got to thinking about the term, because once we get into it deep tonight, you're going to hear on the scientific side how they explain how an atom, atom, works, the nuclear of an atom works, and how it vibrates at a certain rate, and then it shoots off these energy fields, and they can literally detect or see the spectrum of light come off of this atom. And I'm sitting here listening to the scientific side that they're giving, and I said, hell no, that's exactly how our chakra system works. I said, so that makes sense that they would name an atom equals Adam. Okay? So though that's where this whole show derived from. So I'll pause in case somebody wants to put something on it, and if not, we're going to jump into the video.
Well, I was thinking, as you were speaking and saying all that stuff, it's like blackness can shift shape to survive the elements of the universe. And because the melanin changes shapes to accommodate radiation and proton bombardment and electron bombardment, and that is our survival. Plus, it's also probably where we were able to levitate by shift-shaping the melanin that's in our bodies and using our crown chakra to communicate with the universe, the melanin that's in us. And that's how the pyramids were probably made and all kinds of stuff, because we are changeable with the frequency of the universe. So that's what I was thinking as you were saying that.
Wow. Very good point, sis. And, when you say that, melanin can shape shift and it can endure all types of things, actually melanin cannot be destroyed. And that's a scientific fact. They have tried to break melanin down in many ways, and they just cannot do it.
Mhm.
So that makes perfect sense, what you're saying. It absolutely makes perfect sense.
That's one of our built-in survival mechanisms. Because when you don't have melanin, your pineal gland is calcified. So that means you are going to burn up in the high temperatures. You are going to melt down when it's too cold. You're not going to be able to survive the universe elements.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very, very, very good point. And it's interesting when you say about the levitation and the building of the pyramids. Something came to mind, some research I was doing years and years ago. And I thought, I'm like, they're sitting up here wondering how our ancestors built those particular pyramids. And it was built, they built them by levitation. Okay. And, and that's based on them understanding the sacred sciences. So meaning the higher something vibrates, it will levitate. And now they have experiments out. You could go on YouTube, where you'll see them use sound. And based on the sound frequencies, they can have objects levitate. Now, be that they're small objects, but nonetheless, the concept works based on the vibratorial frequency that they use with sound. They're able to have those objects levitate. And that is actually some of the same sacred science that Tesla was talking about, and why he was such a stickler on using free energy, because he entered and understood that energy is abundance within the universe. And all you have to do is tap into the whatever type of frequency based on what you're trying to accomplish. So, in other words, there is no scarcity. And, of course, He was shut down for two reasons. Number one, I think it was Rockefeller. He was either Rockefeller or J.P. Morgan. I can't remember which one. Couldn't figure out how to make money off of it, so he backed Edison. The metaphysics behind it is, can you imagine where the society would be if folks learned that you can just tap into the energy that is abundantly floating around to accomplish what you are trying to do?
So that would mean,
go ahead, sis.
So that would mean that we create our own reality based on element properties we have in our body.
Absolutely. So you felt that wavelength because you literally, I took a sip of water. I thought it, took my sip of water. You picked up the thought. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is why we keep saying how powerful thoughts are. They possess frequencies. And we're going to go in a little deeper. One of the clips I had tonight, I can't remember which one, talks about us essentially living in water. We've talked about that several times. It's just based on which density that we're at. So obviously we're at a lighter density of water. So meaning, what happens if you are underwater and you wave your arm in that water? Doesn't that wavelength that energy go out within that body of water. Just like the dolphins and the whales communicate through sound.
Sonar.
It's the same principle with our thoughts. It's the same principle when we talk. What you're doing, you send out a frequency, and whatever frequency that's on, whether it be on a creation mode, you're going to pick up that frequency. You're going to create your reality. So very, very good point, sis. You brought that out quite early. Very, very good point. Okay, so I'm sorry, go ahead on. I'm sorry, I know somebody else said something.
Yeah, when you brought up that about how he said that whether it was radiation, microwave energy, or whatever, that it's stored away in melanin.
Right.
To me, this is where fear come in, that when they have us thinking that this is going to do this or this is going to do that, we think about it, and we actually manifest that within ourselves. They can't make us sick. They can just put stuff out there and get us to fall for it and concentrate on it and make ourselves sick.
Absolutely.
Fear.
And then I like to point out that's why the Levi priest has so much power, because they can concentrate and move within themselves and tap into the universal power to make things happen, because that is one of their strongest, probably their strongest DNA principles that was given to them as a mark to mark them and separate them as the priest.
Right, and I'll just go even kind of add on to what you said. Now, the beauty part of where we are in this particular age, or if you want to say time, and we discussed this before, that a brother taught me that time is just emit, spelled backward, which is emit a frequency, where this is open to everyone, because, you know, we're in that age. So in other words, we started out with this knowledge. Something happened where the vibration, the frequency changed to lower level, and then only a certain group of people carried on that sacred science and, quote, quote, became the high priest. But now we are back in the cycle. We are back in the age. We are back in the time where this is for everyone. Everyone is a high priest when you go within. Because if the energy is flowing abundantly, you sitting here and the energy waves or frequencies are just flowing. It's just waiting on you to tap in,
to pick it up,
to create what you want.
Wonderful.
But it's always
I'm
been
sorry, go ahead on, brother.
It's always been there. I mean,
I agree.
Just the fact that more people are aware of it now, but we've all always been capable of it. We just didn't do it. We were well indoctrinated, but we didn't even think about it.
Totally agree. That's a very good point.
Now the very thing that they claim was going to be our downfall, the internet and whatnot, it was supposed to be our downfall, but the creative energies and the thoughts of people,
we reversed that shit out.
Around.
Yep.
Exactly.
We reversed that shit right on out. Oh, you finna spy on me? Spy on, bruh.
Right.
spy on this. That's exactly what we did. We took it, reversed it up, and now it is literally, it's unstoppable. They can't stop it. It doesn't matter how much they try to censor it. It's already done. So that's a perfect example.
Because that's what they've done to us. They took all of our knowledge and everything and used it against us.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, it's just everything rotating its balance. So
absolutely.
Now they got to see what it's like for their stuff to be taken and used against them, even though it's all ours to begin with. So
right.
I mean, it's just coming back home.
Yeah, absolutely. And just think of the power, if you think of those that have a calcified pineal gland, or let's say that it's not calcified, but they don't have as much melanin, they don't have the perfect black, quote, quote, body, that 9 ether. Just think of it like this. Just think of what a small group of people have been able to do. And they don't even have all the power, but you possess all the power within you. So who's really the strongest?
Well, you know, I heard they was always afraid of the fact we will learn our creative powers that we have, and that's what the dumb downing has always been about, is to make sure brainwashed not to know that we have that creative power, because once we gain consciousness, they go down.
Well, and you know, the very, very good point, sis, because that's what the fear tactics are about. The false flag events with the killing the melanated folks every other goddamn day. You know, the terrorists, this and that. The ISIS this, and make no mistake about it, I didn't get a chance to say it last week, but ISIS is the attack on the melanated woman.
Right.
Okay, that's what it means from a spiritual perspective. None of that is a coincidence. That is their quote, quote, way of trying to keep the guardians, which the melanated beings, you are the guardians, from coming online to take it back over, and not for dominance, for balance.
Balance, yeah.
To clean it up.
Mm-hmm. Keep Mother Earth from crying, because Mother Earth is pretty PO'd right now.
Absolutely. So. But the thing of it is, family, they knew or they know that the day is coming, because you wrote it. You left it in stone all over this planet.
Mm-hmm.
You wrote the way we used to be. You wrote the fall. You wrote when we went into slavery. You wrote the resurrection. You wrote it. They already know this. All they were trying to do was keep the frequency low to buy them some, quote, quote, time. That's all that they're trying to do. It's not working no more, but that's all they were trying to do. Okay. Alrighty, so this particular video, this is by, it's only 5 minutes, but it's by Nassim Haram. And if you don't know his work, check it out. He drops a lot of deep stuff. His name is spelled Nassimharemein. I think it's Nassim Haremein. But matter of fact, he was the first one that I learned about the true vibratory shapes of the planet, on how each planet has its own vibratory rate. and how based on that vibratorial rate, you can see the geometric shape that that planet emits. He was the first one that I saw put out that type of information. But this particular video is called We Live in a Black Hole. So it's only 5 minutes long, and then we're going to come back and chop it up. Here we go.
We have to move together. It is a consensus reality. And it's really important for people to understand that, because then, first of all, you take responsibility in what you're feeding the vacuum. But as well, you realize that if it's not all going exactly how you want it to go, is because you're embedded in a morphogenic field and you're interacting with all the stuff that's going on in it. You're all following that? So, be kind to yourself. So these scales, if this was true, then when I started to collaborate with Dr. Rauscher, which was one of the only physicists that would actually work with me. I'm just kidding. Somewhat. And she was retired. She didn't have anything to lose. So, she said, if you're right, I think you're insane, but if you're right, then we should be able to write a scaling law that shows that the vacuum divides in a very specific way. And so we wrote a scaling law where we plotted the radius of an object relative to its frequency, to its energy level. And we plotted all the things in the universe on it, that, the large things and the small things. And we started with the universal size. Now, I just want to let you know, if you take the size of our universe and you put all the mass we see in the universe, which is 10 to the 55th grams, right, in it, our universe obeys the condition of a black hole. That is, there's too much mass for light to escape it. We know since Einstein that light gets curved by gravitational fields. We were able to show that with stars that are behind the sun that appears to be beside the sun just because the light is curving. And so if you shine a laser at night, the laser is going out and is being curved by the sun a little bit. And it's going to get curved by another star a little bit, and another star, and another star, and another star, and it's not going to come out. It's got too much mass in our universe. We live inside a black hole. This is why it's black at night. That's another story. And why is that? Well, because remember, if it's division to infinity and each division has mass, then everything must be a little singularity of infinite density. Everything must be a little black hole. Every atom you're made of. So when I made this calculation, I was very happy to see that matched. The mass of the universe to its radius gives the exact equation for a black hole density. And then I looked at quasars and galactic centers, and I plotted those, so their energy level to their radius, and they started lining up. And then I plotted stellar object, and it lined up too. Now, there's nothing in cosmology that would predict that this should happen. And then I plotted the atom. So now that's a big jump from the sun to the atom, right, across quantum theory. And sure enough, the atom showed up along that line, and this is the Planck's distance. So everything lined up along that line, and this is the Planck's distance. So everything lined up nicely. And then I looked at the biological entity and found that microtubules, which are little structures that makes up your cell's boundary, okay, oscillate at 10 to the 11 to 10 to the 14 hertz, and when you plot their size, it almost bisects perfectly this, continuous line from universal size, the size of the universe, to billions of times smaller than an atom, everything lined up, including biology, which is you. You are in that mechanism. You are part of this conduit of information of the vacuum that goes from infinitely big to infinitely small through you. And as it passes through you, it picks up your specific interpretation of the universe and feeds it to the infinity of all things, so that your participation is counted. Do you start to get a sense of your responsibility?
Okay. So that was a real quick clip by Nassim Haramein, We Live in a Black Hole. I'll pause in case somebody want to put something on it before I give my 1 cent.
I'll come in after you.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis.
Well, when he says the biological, I was thinking about when the biological is at rest or dead, we still interact when we what do you call it? Transplant.
Transition.
Yeah, when we go to different places when we sleep. What do you call that stuff?
Astral travel.
Astral travel. And then that's when we're so intense and so concentrated with the universe that we go to various dimensions and see different things and may come home with a ring on the floor, Wendell.
Right.
Because we change our reality when we are in the astral planing position. And we're no longer in the bio, which has to be maintained on this plane, but we've already gone to a frequency that's way above what they consider normal.
Now, you hold that thought. I want you to do me a favor. Hold that thought that you said we go into a frequency. Repeat that for me again.
Yeah, we go into a frequency way above what is normal.
Okay, so hold that thought, because we're going to get into the science behind just what you just said. To prove what you just said has a scientific proof and connotation to it. Because once I got to thinking about it, I said, oh, okay, right in plain sight. So hold that thought, sis. It's going to be proven. My take on the clip is that he once again was telling folks that we are connected to everything. So he, told you from a scientific perspective, he used a mathematic calculation from a larger scale, meaning our particular universe or planet, all the way down to us as individuals, even down to an atom, and plotted it on the graph and saw where it was all connected. And he made the point once again that the universe, we emit certain frequencies out into the universe. The universe picks up that frequency and responds accordingly to what that frequency is. So that once again goes back to what we were talking about. You are in charge of your own reality. And he put it into the the light of, do you understand the responsibility that you have? So meaning your personal responsibility, and everybody always want to ask, well, what do I need to be doing? Well, how could I change this, sister? How could I change? Well, I need our people to do. No. You don't need nobody to do nothing. What your personal responsibility is what reality are you creating? What frequency are you emitting to the ethers to create the reality that you say you want? So I'll pause, Brother Sean, in case you want to put something on it.
Just to jump in on what Sis said, everything happens in the spiritual before it happens in the physical. So, I mean,
absolutely.
It is what it is.
Absolutely. It's interesting because I have ran across the quote some years ago that whenever you are wanting something or whenever you are needing something, once you think it, which is a form of creating, that it has already happened on the spiritual realm, it will be brought forth in the physical. So just
unless
like brother, unless you block it. And so, you could be doing some work in the spiritual realm via astral traveling, kicking it, whatever. Yeah, I'm going to do this, or you in the fancy house, cars, your business running smooth. You had a kick-ass dream. You wake up in the morning, you feeling good, and you let the physical surroundings or the fear set back in. Now, you done already created it on the spiritual higher dimensional realm, but now you just sent out a signal from your frequency, well, I'm scared, or they not going to let me do that, or, whatever negativity you have against what you've already created in the spiritual, that vibration is picked up, and it goes back through the universe. The universe carries it back to the spiritual realm and say, well, that's not what they want. Shut it down. That's how that works. I'm sorry, go ahead on, sis.
I pick up something else, too. So, say, for instance, they say death happens, which what he's saying, it doesn't. Death doesn't happen because our reality, our perceptions of death is what makes death happen as far as we know. But if every corpuscle, every sinew of our body has a frequency, it does not lose the frequency when the spiritual self is still is outside of the body. So if somebody shoots somebody and what we see is the breath going out of them, we probably just see the expiration of the spirit, like Wendell said. That's the expired part. But every drop of blood that is spilled into Mother Earth has a frequency that Mother Earth picks up. And she either mourns the passing because she's being saturated with all that extra energy from the drops of blood that are spilled. And this is why we're getting in trouble.
That's an interesting concept that you speak of that, because some proverb that talks about Mama Earth feeling the pain from the blood of her children.
That's right. That's the Revelation, I believe. And then we can go to Ezekiel, where he says, when he's speaking to the dry bones, prophesy to these bones. And will these bones live again? So the earth has to give up the dry bones. All the skin, all the blood that was spilt into the earth, because it has those frequencies attached to it.
Absolutely.
So
great point, sis. Great point.
But if you take the word
I'm sorry, go ahead on.
depth, you take the word depth, it could also spell hated.
Right.
I mean, that's going against love of divine self. I mean, you would know that your energy can't be created or destroyed.
Destroyed, that's right.
I mean, the ancestors, they embraced so-called death because they knew it wasn't the end.
Right.
So, I mean, fear leads to hatred, and most people fear dying. So they
can't die.
They hate it. They hate it so much that they don't ascend. They come back.
Right.
You wind up getting the thing that you feared the most. You created your own reality, and that was to come back here.
Which is a training ground. I don't know how long it will remain a training ground, this particular third density realm. But, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because you kind of picked up where I wanted to go with that, is that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It just is.
Just changes.
Exactly. It just changes frequency. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, again, we make the choice on whether or not we want to reincarnate back into this realm or into others. I am personally starting to believe that even as we are physically aware right now, I also believe that our energies exist in multiple universes as well. And I don't know who said it. I can't remember, so forgive me, whoever said it. That we can do copies of ourselves, and we are observing
different dimensions.
Exactly.
I heard that one too.
Exactly.
We're watching ourselves at other higher dimensions as we on the lower dimension.
Yep.
I think it was Brother Morris who said that, wasn't it?
Okay. I'm like, did Brother Morris say that? Okay, I think he did say that last week. Okay. Yep. And which is pretty powerful. And it would also make sense, and I see you, 609, I'm coming to you, sweetheart, which would also make sense, those of us that astral travel, and you'll know what I'm talking about. When you astral traveling, it could have been Brother Will. I know one of you brothers said it, and, forgive us if we can't remember who said it. But when you astral travel and you are aware of a certain place that you're at, but you don't feel out of place, if that makes sense. You just very familiar, you kicking it, you talking to other folks like, y'all been cool for a long time, but you don't particularly know those folks in this realm. You in your own crib doing different stuff, so that could be that also. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. Okay, so let me go to 609. 609, your line is open. Uh-oh. 609? 609, going once, going twice? Oh, okay, 609. I'm not sure if you really meant to get in the queue. You're going to have to get back in if that's what you want to do. Okay. All righty. So now, and anybody else that has something they want to put on it, just press *1 to get in the queue. Okay, so now where I want to go, so Nassim kind of introduced us to the black hole concept, okay, that we live in a black hole. We are a black hole, okay, and of course, the universe itself is a black hole and how it is all connected to each other. So another concept that you'll always hear in connection with black holes is the concept of how light interacts or reacts to a black hole. So this next particular video, and actually the next couple videos, we're really going to chop it up and start talking about light spectrums. Okay, and here's where you're going to start to see that even the sciences that they teach in regular old classrooms, they're really taking the concept on how your body works, how your spiritual chakra systems work, how this universe works, period. Okay? And I'll kind of get into from a tech perspective, because Brother Sean brought up the whole internet thing. It's going to blow y'all wig back. I got to thinking about it. I said, oh, hell no. They even kind of, from an internet perspective, use this concept of light spectrums as well. So this next video, let me see how long this is. I don't think it's long. Let me make sure that I got it. I always say this. No, it's only 8 minutes long. So this particular video is called Physical Science 7.3 Hertz. Atoms absorb and emit light. Okay, so pay very close attention to this video, and hopefully you'll pick up how they're really also explaining how your particular essence emits light. So this YouTube video is by Derek Owens, off the YouTube channel Derek Owens. So let me get that. Here we go, family.
Now, it turns out that atoms can absorb and emit light, and now we're going to talk about how. And if you understand the quantum hypothesis, the thought that energy only exists in little packets of certain sizes, then you can understand the process by which atoms absorb and emit light. Now, here's how it works. Imagine taking some material and heating it up really hot. For example, you turn on an electric stove. And when you turn it on, it gets hot, and you know what happens. It starts to glow red. It can get hot enough to emit light. What's going on inside the atoms is that because of the heat, electrons are getting kicked up to higher energy levels. And we can draw that like this. We can draw the nucleus of an atom, and then we can draw these concentric circles around it, and we can imagine a little electron here getting kicked up to a higher energy level. So it now exists up here. And sometimes the term used is excited. The electron has been excited to a higher energy state. Now the electron can sit there at the higher energy level for a little while, but at any moment it might fall back to a lower energy level. And we would draw that something like this. Here's these lines representing different energy levels. And if an electron is up here, and it falls down to a lower energy level, so it ends up there, what happens is a photon of light is emitted. And so we'll draw the photon commonly like this. It's usually drawn as a little wavy arrow. And the wavy arrow there gives us an idea of it being a photon, because photon is light, and light has a wave nature to it. So that's a common symbol for a photon, just a little wavy arrow, and it comes out of the atom as an electron falls down to a lower energy level. So the electron has lost energy, and where has the energy gone? It's gone into this light wave. That photon has been emitted by the atom as a result of that electron dropping down to a lower energy level. And that's where the light comes from when the stove is glowing. The heat is kicking the electrons up to a higher energy level, and as they drop back to a lower energy level, they emit those photons, and that's the red glow of the stove. And it's also common to see a diagram something like this. You can imagine your atom over here. We'll draw another one, and we'll put a few energy levels here. And let's imagine an electron down here, and a photon comes in. And the atom can absorb the photon. Well, that's energy going into the atom. How does the atom hold that energy? Well, that electron gets kicked up to a higher energy level. So these are both very common pictures in the world of quantum physics. This first picture shows an atom absorbing a photon and the electron getting kicked up to a higher energy level. And this second picture shows the electron dropping down to a lower energy level and the atom emitting a photon. Now there's one other thing, and this will hopefully tie it all together. The difference in these energy levels, and you could think of them as the distance represented between these two lines. This line right here is one energy level, and this is another. So the difference between them represents a certain amount of energy. Or these two energy levels right here, the difference between those two energy levels represents how much energy the electron gains when it goes up from the lower one to the higher one, or how much it loses when it goes from the higher to the lower. There's a difference in those energy levels. Different energy levels exist naturally in different atoms. So if you were to actually put numbers on these, in a hydrogen atom, for example, there'd be a certain amount of energy between those two energy levels and a certain amount of energy between those two energy levels. And those numbers would be different for a helium atom or a lithium atom or a carbon atom. Different atoms have different energy levels. And in general, a large drop corresponds to a large amount of energy, and a photon released from a large drop has more energy. So say an electron started way up here and fell all the way down to there. That would be a larger drop, and the photon that was emitted from that drop in energy of the electron would be a higher energy photon. It would literally have more energy. And higher energy photons correspond to higher frequency light waves. Lower energy photons correspond to lower frequency light waves. And the different frequencies of light correspond to the different colors that we see. Just like different frequencies of sound correspond to different notes that we hear, different frequencies of light correspond to different colors that we see if the light is visible. If it's a really high frequency, it might be beyond the frequency of visible light. Higher than blue or violet, it would be ultraviolet or even higher. If it were really low frequency light, it would be down below the red. It might be infrared or even lower, down radio waves or lower frequencies. But in general, the different frequencies of light correspond to different colors. And because different atoms naturally have different energy levels, then the light emitted by those atoms naturally comes at certain specific frequencies. So the drop, for example, from one energy level to another, emitting a photon, is going to emit a photon of one frequency for, say, a carbon atom, and another frequency for, say, an oxygen atom. So different atoms emit light at different frequencies. And that brings it back around to the spectrum that we were looking at earlier. If you remember this picture, and others like it, this shows the light emitted by two different atoms here. The top row are the frequencies of light emitted by a helium atom, and the bottom row, as you see, by a neon atom. But because the two atoms are different and naturally have different energy levels, they emit different photons, or photons of different frequencies. And in this diagram, the higher frequency blue photons are over here on the left side of the picture, and the lower frequency red photons are over there on the right, and it could be flipped around, it doesn't really matter. It would contain the same information. The point is that different elements emit light at different frequencies, and so each element has this characteristic spectrum that we see. And we looked at that back at the very beginning of this section. And all of this goes to say that these ideas explain this. And this is what makes a scientific theory a good theory. It fits the data. Scientists actually see this, and you can see these colors emitted, and they're different for different elements. And the question comes up, why? Why do we see light emitted differently from helium than from neon, or from hydrogen, or from oxygen, or from anything else? And the reason we see light differently, light emitted differently from different elements, is because of these different energy levels. All of this is explained by these ideas in quantum mechanics. So all this talk about light being a wave and being able to exist at different frequencies and being able to carry different amounts of energy, and about light being able to be absorbed or emitted by an atom, and about electrons existing at different energy levels. All of this fits together nicely and consistently and explains the observed phenomenon. And that's what makes a theory a good theory. It matches the data that we actually see. Measurements that we actually take are consistent with these theoretical ideas.
All right, family. So that particular video was Physical Science, 7.3 hertz, atoms absorb and emit light. That was from YouTube channel Derek Owens. So I'll pause in case somebody want to put something on it, and if not, sis, I'm going to ask you to state your statement again so we could get it.
I want to put something on it.
Go ahead, brother.
Basically, what I heard was the creation story on another level. I mean, you start with complete darkness and the fall. It's going down to lower frequencies. You get your L's, your gods. Beneath them, you get your demigods. You get your different color beings. The blue people, the green people, different frequencies, on down to our Caucasian friends who vibrate at a lower frequency. I mean, people wonder where they came from, us vibrating at a lower frequency. Everything, we can absorb everything, but everything can absorb us.
Yeah, because he said it. Go ahead on, sis. Wow, but that's deep, brother, that you broke it down to the different types of beings. Yeah, thank you for that. I'm sorry, sis, go ahead.
You know, this reminds me of Star Trek and Stargate and CERN and what's the other one? HARP. They excite the universal electrons and atoms and split them. And that will give you that carbon transfer with that Star Trek, Bing Me Up, Scotty. So they're playing with that time bending by sending the carbons of the people they were transporting, even in Stargate, to different dimensions and different times. And in the HARP, they are exciting the ions and the electrons that's in the atmosphere to create these mega storms and bringing on all these problems as far as when the electrons start settling down, they make different kind of patterns and clouds and rain like in Louisiana and dryness like in California. So they've been working, splitting these atoms to create a different reality than what we're accustomed to on this planet. So that's what I got out of it. And I heard the Big Bang part, too, where the atoms were heated so high that they split apart and created the universe that we know, this part. And that's where they're getting that Big Bang idea, because they know that it was so hot and so violent that matter was scattered into different particles.
Okay. Well, that's a very good point too, sis. I know when I heard the video for the first time, I immediately thought about how each individual's body absorb light, process light, and how it relates to your chakra centers. So he specifically said the points that I picked up out of the video when he said that, and I can't remember if it's the electrons that's able to, I think it's the atom that's able to pick up the particular spectrums of light. And so meaning you as the individual, and as Brother Sean said, especially if you are a 9-ether being, meaning you are a melanated being, you are able to pick up all spectrums of light. So meaning you are able to pick up the high frequency light. It's so high that it is not seen to the naked eye. So meaning if it's not seen to the naked eye, then you are connecting to the ethers, to a higher source. You're able to absorb that energy. You're able to process that energy, as well as you're able to absorb the lower energy. He also went so deep as to tell you the colors of this light spectrum. He specifically said that the higher the frequency, the lighter the color, meaning ultraviolet is the highest frequency. Ultraviolet is representative of your crown chakra. And he said there's light spectrums that go beyond that ultraviolet that cannot be seen by the naked eye. So that is you as that 9-ether being, able to process all spectrums of light within this universe as well as the ethers. You have that ability. And they are able to look at your aura. And anybody that knows what I'm talking about, that's just the light frequency around your body that's invisible to the eye. And they can tell what frequency you are on.
Oh.
So this ain't no goobly gop stuff that, I've been saying, other folks are saying. This is the scientific proof behind it. You just heard him say they're able to take an atom, atom, and they can see how it absorbs light/energy, and it emits a color, which means it emits a frequency. That is exactly how your body processes light. That is exactly how your body tunes in to what frequency. The beauty of it is you can control it. You can control what frequency you want to tap into or not tap into. So, sis, if you could remember that statement that you said earlier, I hope you remembered it because I sure didn't.
I didn't either. But I was saying that when you astral travel, you're moving at such a high frequency, higher than way out of the normal range that we normally do.
Okay, so you remember. So this is the video that proves, because they just said the higher the frequency, the higher the light spectrum. And it gets to a point that the frequency goes so high that it cannot be seen to the naked eye.
So, that brings in angels, that brings in ghosts, that brings in death. When we die, we change because our frequency now is at a low vibration. And when we die, we may end up in a higher vibration. That's why people can't see us. But they see you on the other side. And you can't see angels with your eyes because your eyes can't pick up the frequency of which an angel is moving. And ghosts, they can slow the frequency down so you can see it you can see the orbs on those cameras. But otherwise, they're moving at a super high frequency.
Right. And that's an interesting point, because when you don't have to transition out of your physical body to get to the state where you can see those higher frequencies. All you have to do is get on that high frequency level, and you can see the unseen. So that is how, especially children, are able to see their guardian angels, or they're able to see people that have transitioned, or people that meditate are able to see the quote unseen. So we do have that ability to do that in the physical. It's just tuning into the higher frequency to do it. Angels are nothing but angles of light. That's what you are.
Right.
You are an angle of light. I'm sorry. Go ahead on, Brother Sean.
I've been seeing stuff my whole life.
I believe it.
Nothing new to me. My grandmother, like back in the day, they called it being born under veils. And that's what I grew up on. Seeing things my whole life. Still see things to this day. It don't bother me in the least bit.
Absolutely. Totally agree. And I know for me personally, I purposely shut off the part of seeing beings. I feel the presence of beings, but as far as portals and other different things, I definitely can see. But I don't like to see with the spiritual eye the beings around. It just kind of gives me the willies, me personally. But that's just my personal choice. But you can definitely do it. It's just what frequency are you on? That's all. So let me get to 347. Let me try to pull you up here. 347, your line is open.
Peace and love, Rhonda. Peace and love, all.
Peace and love, beloved.
Peace and love.
I tell you, I came on a little late, and I'll probably have to leave a little early, but from what I got, it was all on time, and, it energized me so much. Sometimes I, look for things for my lesson and say, well, I shouldn't have to contribute, right? But, it just pulls you in there. The beauty of it is, Now, one of your last statements, Rhonda, that you made was that about tuning into the higher frequencies. Meanwhile, what was resonating through my mind is how the real challenge is how to tune out of the lower frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that's the real trap. And when you mentioned the child and how come they can see this, that, or the other. And the real deal is that we as adults usually have so much from the past that is weighing us down and so much an expectation for the future out of a corrupted, way down past thought form, so that we can't make it to the tuning out because we tied ourselves in. And whereas with the child, they know how to live in the present. We need to learn to get back to the present.
Yes.
And that would be the tuning out of everything and knowing, you know. But it's all beautiful. I love the whole discourse, and very enlightening and illuminating. And I just thank each and every one of you. Much love.
Wow. Much love to you, brother. I'm gonna leave you open for a little bit because I do want to kind of expand on what you said about, you know, the tuning out of the lower frequencies. And if you don't have a chance to join us for the rest of the night, my last video, a sister talks just about living in the present or living in the now, the concept of living in the now. And that's where we should be going. That's where we should be at. But interestingly enough, I know for me, as I was on my journey of spirituality, and I speak with one of my sis on this on a regular basis, is that I had to, in order to get past staying in a lower frequency or constantly tuning in to a lower frequency, I had to literally take control of my thoughts and quote program, write my own program.
Yes.
To reverse out, and just something really simple. So, for example, if I would put a negative thought out there, now that I know the science behind thoughts have frequencies and the universe picks it up and gives you exactly what you're thinking, I learned that anytime I have a negative thought that is not what I want, that's not going to benefit me, I instantaneously reverse it up. And I keep putting out there what I really, really want. And then you start to physically condition your mind to create thoughts that benefit yourself. You also become very aware of your thinking and negative thinking, and you reverse it up, and then it starts to become second nature to you. So meaning when the low frequency bull crap is out in the air, you won't absorb that light because you've trained your temple to say, yeah, well, that's on some low vibrational bull crap. You can't penetrate my body with that crap. So those are just, some of the things that I had to learn to not absorb negative frequencies that are just naturally floating around.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Definitely does. Yes. Also, keep in mind, simply letting it go.
Yes.
If there's nothing you can do about it, just let it go. Don't keep focusing on it. You're giving it your energy. Once something is past, it's gone unless we keep feeding it energy. As you said, we have to get back to the now.
That's right.
That's where all your energy has to be focused in. That's the only way you're going to manifest things. If you thinking about the past and thinking about the future, your power is separated.
Yes.
You function on 3 different planes.
Yes.
That's interesting.
So just let go. Just let go. Ain't nothing you can do about it. You have to control your thoughts in this very moment. You can be unhappy or you can be happy. It's up to you. Whatever happened already happened. Don't keep reliving it. Let it go.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, thank you, brother. It was great hearing your voice. Great input.
Thank y'all.
Okay, peace and love.
Peace and love.
Okay, very good. You know, it's interesting. Before we move on, Brother Sean, you said something. You just said something that, you know, when you're focusing, when you don't let stuff go, if you're focusing too much on the past, you're focusing too much on the future instead of focusing on the now, you're doing it, you're living in 3 different planes. That makes a hell of a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Interesting. Okay.
Also,
go ahead on, brother.
Also, like when we were talking about black holes and the different levels of black holes, universes within universes, multiple dimensions within one dimension. I mean,
I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. And, you know, it reminds me of, go check out that movie. We actually did a review on it, Doctor Strange, when, you know, they were teaching him how to jump through the different dimensions. But one of the particular dimensions was a training center. And I thought about that from an astral travel perspective, that when, you know, let's say you're dealing with a problem here on this plane in the physical, and it's so heavy on your mind that when you lay down to, quote, quote, go to sleep, you wind up in a dream, which, you know, if you're dreaming and it's in color and it's vivid, that's astral traveling. You start to act out or that same problem that you're dealing with on this particular plane. So in other words, that is you going to this other dimension trying to solve what is troubling you on this plane. So it reminded me, brother, of what you said about universes within universes within universes. So very good point. And the point that we're trying to make here is that, you know, we as beings or angels of light or angels or gods, you have an abundance of resources at your disposal. There is no scarcity. It is just up to you to learn to tap in and practice into tapping in to that abundant source for your benefit. Okay. Alrighty, so with that said, we are going to move on to the next video. It's short as well, but it also talks about properties of light, spectral lines. So I only took 8 minutes, 12 minutes of this video. We're going to come back and chop it up. So here we go. Oops, I didn't get a source, my bad. This is Properties of Light, Spectral Lines 1. And the YouTube channel is Physicist Michael. So here we go. Okay, I just hit the video. There we go, family.
In the last video, we talked about a phenomenon referred to as black body radiation. And the main idea is, let's say I have some solid object, so this has to be a solid. Then if I in the last video, we talked about a phenomenon known as black body radiation. And the main idea behind it was, if I have some solid object, so this has to be a solid, where it will absorb close to all of the light that hits this object, so it doesn't reflect any, so the object will appear black. Then, as the temperature of this object increases, eventually this object will start to glow. If you get it just at normal room temperatures, it'll be glowing in the infrared, so we can't really see it's glowing at that point. But as the temperature increases, it will start to glow first red, and then as the temperature goes up, the frequency of the light will increase, and it'll start to glow yellow and then white, and it'll get brighter and brighter as we go. And this spectrum of light that it gives off, if we look at a graph of the wavelength versus the intensity of the light, then at low temperatures it might look something like this and be at high wavelengths and not very strong. But as the temperature increases, the graph both gets larger and moves to higher and higher frequencies. So we see that as this object heats up, it'll give off a characteristic spectrum which only depends on the temperature, and this is going to be a continuous spectrum. There's no sharp features in this. And we compared these graphs to the spectrum that we see from the sun, and we saw that the sun is not a perfect black body, but it is fairly close and close enough to for us to be able to match up one of these graphs and get a good idea of what the temperature of the sun is. However, we noticed that there were some other features in the spectrum of the sun. We noticed that there were a number of sharp lines that seem to be apparent in the spectrum of the sun that aren't apparent for normal black bodies. And we want to see where those features come from and what can we learn from those parts of the spectrum. Well, in order to do that, we're going to have to take a quick recap of what the structure of an atom is. So if I have an atom, then at the center of that atom, there's a very small nucleus, a very small and extremely dense nucleus, and all of the protons, which are positively charged, and the neutrons, which have no charge, are all located in that central nucleus. And around that nucleus, we have our electrons. So around here, we can have a number of different states that the electron can be in. So these are, you can kind of think of them as different states, and we can have, maybe there's an electron in this state and an electron in this state. But one thing that's important to know is that these electrons can only be in specific states. So can only be in specific states. So if these are my states, an electron can't be halfway in between one of these states. And these states are actually kind of quantum mechanical orbitals that are around the atom, and And I'm not going to get into too much detail about what these states actually are, other than to say that with each of these states, there's a different energy associated with it. So we can have the energy of state 1, the energy of state 2, the energy of state 3, and there would be more and more states that could go up from here. And the last thing is that as you go closer, as the electron goes closer to the nucleus of the atom, these energies are going to be lower energies. And electrons always like to be in the lowest energy state. So they're always going to try to get down to here, but maybe the object is hot, so a hotter object will have more energy, so maybe these electrons will move up to higher energy states. So we might ask, well, what happens if I have an electron that starts out here in a high energy state, and maybe this electron will fall back down into a lower energy state? So maybe the electron falls back down there. I started out with a lot of energy, and then the electron doesn't have as much energy left. Well, where did that energy go? And what actually happens is that energy, if this happens spontaneously, that energy is going to be given off as a photon. So we have a photon that's going to be emitted away. And if I started out with energy 3, so I started out with energy 3, and then at the end this was only at energy 1, so I subtract energy 1, then this is going to be the energy of the, I'm going to call this energy gamma, because gamma is kind of the signal for a photon. This is going to be the specific energy of the photon that's given off. And that means, if it's a specific energy, that means that the wavelength of that light given off is going to be at a very specific wavelength. So we're going to, when this process occurs, we're going to get a very specific color light that's emitted. So maybe that corresponds with this part of the spectrum, this red part of the spectrum. Now, this isn't the only way that an electron could change orbits. The electron could go from my third level to my second level, or maybe it started at the second level and goes to the first level. And each of these transitions will have a different energy associated with it, but each of those energies will be very specific to exactly what transition took place. So if I have this heated object, so I probably should have said this before, but this is going to be a hot, so this is going to be a hot atom, so these electrons start out in a high energy state but want to get back to a lower energy state. As these electrons go through these very specific transitions, they will give off a specific set of colored photons. And this is what is known as an emission spectrum. And these are referred to as spectral lines, and that word comes up a lot. So if I have a hot object and these electrons are changing what state they're in, they're going to give off a very specific color of light. Now, the reverse process can also occur. Let's say I have my electron, I have my atom, so it's positively charged, and I'm just going to show two energy states for this particular example. And let's say that this object starts out as cold. So this atom is cold, and there's some hot object, there's some hot light source behind it, so this is hot. So what's going to happen is this light source is going to give off probably black body radiation, so it's going to give off a range of frequencies. So there's going to be yellow light being given off by this, and there's going to be red light given off by this, and there's going to be some blue light given off by this object that's behind the atom that I'm looking at. Well, in this case, maybe I start off with an electron in my lower energy state, and maybe a specific frequency of light hits it, which is at the right energy to bump it up to a higher energy level. So let's say this red light hits the electron and is at the exact right amount of energy or at the right wavelength to boost this electron up into a higher state. The exact opposite of this process. Well, this object always wants to be in a lower energy state. This electron wants to get back down, so it might re-emit that light, but it's probably going to emit it in a different direction. All of this light is going in the same direction, but when the electron falls back down to its original state, then it will re-emit that light, but in a different direction. So the light that reaches us, we still get the yellow light, we still get the blue light, but this red light is going to be missing, and we will have a black bar at the same color, the same frequency and wavelength that we had in our emission spectrum before. So this is known as an absorption line. So we see these two processes where we can get these new features, this emission spectrum and this absorption spectrum. And these spectra are exactly the opposite of each other. If this is the frequency of light that would be given off going from a high energy state to a low energy state, well, then it's exactly what a low energy state electron needs to get bumped up to that higher energy state. So these exactly match up. And one of the things that is extremely helpful and helps us learn a lot is that each and every type of atom and molecule will have its own unique emission spectrum and therefore absorption spectrum if there's a hot object behind it. So I have a couple of examples of these emission spectra. So this is hydrogen, we have helium, we have sodium, and we have magnesium. And if I heat up these objects and look at the light that's given off by them, we notice that hydrogen gives off strong spectral lines here, here, and here, and there are a couple of other spectral lines that are outside the kind of range of this picture. You can have them in the infrared or the ultraviolet and other things like that. But if you do the same thing with helium, if you heat up helium and look at the light that's given off, it'll give a different set of spectral lines. And sodium, again, there's going to be a unique set. And each of these will act like a fingerprint and be able to give and have unique characteristics that help us identify exactly what kind of material is giving off this light. Magnesium, again, has a different set of spectra. And we're going to use this and compare this to the spectrum of the sun that we see to try and learn a little bit more about the composition of the sun. And we'll look at that in the next video.
All right. So that video is called Properties of Light Spectrum. Spectral Lines 1, and that's off of the YouTube channel Physicist Michael. So once again, I wanted to bring this video in to prove what he was explaining to you is the science behind how atoms, ATOMS, process energy slash frequency, and based on the vibratorial rate, and in this particular video, he said the heat level is what light spectrum this particular atom gives off. So if you physically watch the video, he literally draws the little atom, and then he draws the particular energy coming into the atom, and then he equates it to the particular color. And he drew the atom, and he drew several bands around the atom, and each one of those bands represented the light spectrum, okay? So now this is the science behind how they're saying an atom, ATOM, processes energy. And it can be seen through light, and based on that light spectrum, you know the vibratorial rate, or how hot that particular energy frequency is, and or how that atom is responding to that energy frequency. Same thing with the chakra system. Okay, that particular scale that he was discussing in the video on whether or not that energy center that the atom is processing is hot or cold, and how it emits a color is exactly how your chakra system works. And the hotter it gets, the higher up it goes on that energy band in that atom, ATOM. He is describing Kundalini rising. And he said that these energy sources can go up and down. This particular atom, ATOM, spectrum bands. Same thing with Kundalini rising. Okay, so it is the same exact principle. How an atom, ATOM, processes light is how you, as a divine being, an angle of light, especially a 9-ether being, a highly melanated being, you are able to process all spectrums of light. You are able to control those spectrums of light and use it at their ultimate level to hit all of your energy centers, your AKA chakras, make them balance, make them spin to their ultimate level, and produce Kundalini rising. So I'll pause in case somebody else wants to put something on it.
Yeah. It kind of brings me to lasers and the different color lasers.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they have to use diamonds, which is carbon, melanin, in order to produce the different frequencies or the different colors of the lasers.
Very good point.
It also brings to mind Star Wars and the lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
You had to have a strong Kundalini energy in order to operate it. And your power level dictated what color your laser was that came out the saber.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Very, 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 very interesting. Very interesting. Very good take on that. I never would have correlated, but you're absolutely right. The technology of lasers uses a diamond, which is carbon. Am I right or wrong? It's just carbon that has changed a different energy state, a higher energy state, to create the different light spectrums. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So same thing that we've been discussing. All of this is hidden in plain sight. They know that they can take a crystal or a diamond, which is carbon, and create high-tech laser lights. They know that they can look at an atom and see, based on what type of atom it is, measure how it interacts or absorbs light/energy. They know this.
You know, the crystals are now plastic, kind of a glass. They done taken most of the crystals off the market, unless you're paying a large amount of money for it. Because back in the day when the Dogons came to this planet, they said they were using crystals as weapons, and that was making that nuclear blast in the Egyptian area region that made that land up there where nothing grows on it anymore, just using crystals. But when I was thinking of it, you know, if each atom gives off a spectrum color, that means, according to their frequency, that means you can almost tell what an angel is made of if you can see which frequency of light it's giving off. And I was thinking about Galzu. Galzu in the Lost Book of Enki, he was so radiant that they couldn't even see him. They had to keep their eyes closed, which means he's probably as radiant as the sun. And the sun is what? Hydrogen and carbon, I think. More hydrogen than carbon. So you can even tell what they're made out of with that what he's just got as the emission spectrum. I was like, wow.
Yeah, so in other words, you can see their aura, right?
Right.
Just like, you know, some people can, and we can all do it. I just haven't put enough time and energy into practicing it. But you could see people's aura if you concentrate enough. Hell, you could see your own aura if you concentrate enough. It was interestingly enough, sis, this was a couple of years ago. I had went to this particular store I was going to get some crystals and in there to get some sage. So I walked into the store and asked the gentleman can you show me where your sage is? And so he just started smiling, and he said, "Oh, I know I'm smiling at you." He said, "Oh, but you have a green aura." I said, "Oh, okay, thank you." So I'm just, saying all that to say that we're angles of light. So we can see people's aura, or if you don't see it with the physical or spiritual eye, at a minimum, you should be able to feel their energy vibration.
That's true. That's what you can tell when folks are good. Exactly. Because
when you around somebody and you like, you know what, I got to be away from this person because they just giving off such a negative vibe. I just can't even be bothered with this. I just can't do it. Same concept. That is you going into their space. You picked up their frequency emission and you knew where they were on the energy spectrum.
Right.
Same exact concept. Same exact concept. Now, I do also want to bring up, as far as we talk about how they could measure an atom, how it processes energy and correlate that to a spectrum of light. Believe it or not, when they first came out with web-based, so meaning stuff that you see on the internet with the different colors, they use that same concept of spectrums of light. And when I started learning about the atom and how it processes energy or spectrums of light, I thought about how behind each particular web page, if you go on the web page and you see colors, there's a program that they originally wrote called HTML, and there was, back in the day when it first came out, you had to put in a code to get the particular color that you were looking for. So that's way, way back in the day, y'all, where you had to know the damn code to correlate it to the color. Now, since then, other programmers have put up the spectrum of light picture, where you're able to touch that spectrum wheel or palette to come up with the colors. So I'm saying all that to say that they clearly enter and understand how important the light color spectrum is. They know it from the atom, ATOM level. They know it from the ADAM, ADAM level. They know it from the dark matter perspective. And they know how it appears, how you take it into your particular two eyes that you see with. So all of this stuff is hidden in plain sight. But where they got it from was from how that 9 ether, that carbon being body processes energy. That's where this science is coming from. So meaning they got it from you. You're the walking, breathing universe. You are the connection to everything. You're able to process everything. And that is why I consistently say, don't nothing happen on this planet, on this universe, unless we sanction it. We're able to create whatever reality we choose on how we create and process things. So I'll yield just in case somebody wants to put something on it. If not, we'll go ahead and move along. Let me see where I want to go here. I also, now I want to get back into my guy, Nassim Haramein. He did a video on black holes, and it's called Nassim Haramein Resonates Black Holes, Sacred Geometry, and the Unified Field Theory. Now, this video is about, the total video is an hour. Of course, I'm not going to play the entire hour. I'm going to split it up. The first one is 10 minutes, and he once again hones in on how everything is interconnected. And I might just play the last piece because I see three other things I want to get to. So I'm going to play the last section of this video, and then we're going to get into the new emerging meridians that are, I say they're already here, and that's getting into the concept of now that we were discussing earlier, and then we are going to get into the Merkaba. So I'm going to play just the last 10 minutes of this video because, we got to get into the Merkaba stuff tonight. So here we go. I'm saying it. I should have been damn looking for the video, y'all. Hold on a second. Hopefully I have it. Yep, I have it. Okay, here we go.
Having a crazy conversation because it's crazy for a lot of people. And what I want to come right back to, and I sort of hinted at it before the break, is you're talking about energy in a way that's dramatically different than how we presently think about it. And while the physics for me is fascinating, I'm always looking forward to the implications. So I'm going to jump ahead of the physics for a moment and just suggest that we don't need fossil fuels. We don't need if we shift how we look at energy, all kinds of things are possible. What are those things?
Oh, amazing things from being able to control gravity in such a way that we can use it to levitate things, meaning, we can have gravity pull us to the ground, but if we are able to reverse that, we can get gravity pushing us anywhere we want to go.
Kind of like a magnet. When magnets are of the whatever causes them to push, that's the other side of gravity.
Exactly. You can, if we understand how energy works at its most fundamental level, we can extract energy from the source of energy that makes up everything in the universe. And that's a non-trivial source. When we calculate that, the amount of energy in a centimeter cube of space exceed all the stars in the universe combined. So if we extracted 1/10 of a billionth of a percent of the energy in the space between you and I here, we could run the planet for thousands and thousands of years with all its energy needs, with no or environmental impact or extremely little environmental impact. So imagine the difference that would make. There's implication to health, to longevity. It's a completely different world. As soon as we understand, where the E comes from in E equals MC squared and where the M comes from and why C is C, then all of a sudden it comes together and now we have a completely different world.
And how far away do you think that understanding lies?
I think we're right there on the cusp. I think we're so close. It's within the next decade this will happen.
The question, though, is the consciousness ready? Because, look, some of the things that, again, having listened to your work, there are things we may have known 100 years ago that implied exactly what you're talking about today. It simply was dismissed. Certain experiments revealed things that really ought to have been important. But at the time,
Tesla,
exactly.
Many others, Russell and, Morey and many inventors.
Right, so this is not necessarily newer news. It really, from my perspective, becomes a consciousness conversation. Are we ready? Is the consciousness ready to sort of, using your language, Barnett, put the clutch in on the way we've done things, shift, and I think it really becomes a masculine-feminine issue. Can we rebalance so that we're more open to this the subtle energies and the way of working with and the harmonizing versus manipulating, controlling, and dominating?
Can we unify? Yeah, absolutely. It's
a fundamental human question.
Oh, absolutely. And, it has to do with the stressors in our society as well that are kind of like forcing us to find new solutions. So they're important too, like the environment impacts that we have around the world, global warming issues, many things are demanding now.
I think
that we start paying attention.
Honestly, I think interpersonal things, just dissatisfaction with the status quo on every level.
And so it's changing very fast. So I'm actually very enthusiastic. I'm very positive that we will make this shift, that we will do the transformation because it's critical we do it. First of all, it's critical we do it. Like we are at the 11th and a half hour, I'm very encouraged because I see people from all flux of life that are actually completely transforming. You're talking CEOs of large corporations. You're talking, very prominent political figures, military personnel, agencies. All everything is being infiltrated with people that are awakening and that are going, wait a minute.
Go ahead. One of the things that fascinates is just the stressor piece. That the stressor is a required part of the transformation. I don't know what that means, but I like there's something about that rings true.
Well, we have this model of conquering heroes, and we beat a world or an other into submission. And something that I feel about the stressors is that. For those of us who have become quite masterful at the old heroic model, there is this new post-heroic model where instead of conquering, there is this submitting. There's a heroic submission to the mystery, and then the subtle energy is we allow ourselves to come into relationship with that which has been holding us all along. But I'm very curious. First of all, I love your optimism, and I'm inspired by your optimism. And as a scientist and an edge dweller, I am curious what you see. If I could ask you, if you're willing to peer into the the near future, what are the kinds of developments that you are aware of in terms of real innovation? What are the sorts of things that are on the right at the on the verge?
Yeah, at the cutting edge.
On the cutting edge of changing the way we understand what life is on this planet.
There's many. The first thing that comes to mind, because this is a big interest of mine, is there is multiple experiments in laboratories all around the world now that are confirming gravitational beams, so like starting to be able to alter gravity in a region of space where things starts losing weight, where they're able to create a gravitational beam that will move things at a distance and that propagates at some 64 times the speed of light. There's a lot going on in French laboratories as well on gravity that are showing that this is absolutely possible, and it's right there.
So let me get very practical.
Yes.
Does this mean my trip to San Francisco is going to be
a thought away?
A thought away?
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
That's amazing.
And maybe your trip to Jupiter for the weekend. Because as soon as you control gravity, you live in a completely different paradigm.
When that begins to, the implications of that start to trickle down to the lives of people on this planet.
Right.
That's a very, very different recipe for life as a human being.
Absolutely, but as well, it's kind of critical because when you think of a planetary system, and I'm not the only one saying this at this point. Like for instance, Stephen Hawking has been talking like this for a few years now. Planetary systems are not stable places. One little comet comes too close and we lose the atmosphere. That one sun flare, one large enough meteorite, and it doesn't have to be that large, and it's extension time. So this, the fact that we're still here and we're alive is already incredible grace when you consider the probabilities. But the fact, but at one point, any society on any planet, at one point has to learn to fly, because the planet is like the nest of a bird. And when the birds in the nest are big enough and there's too many of them, you don't want to wait till the next storm, because the nest's going to fall out of the tree, and if the birds can't fly, they're done. And so we as a species have to learn to fly and evolve into a species that lives in the universe, that lives in space. And in order to do that, and people like Branson and Elon Musk and so on are wanting to colonize Mars, and this effort even in the private sector to get us out there in space, but we're not gonna do it
with big rockets.
Yeah, burning fossil fuel. That is not even feasible. It's not reasonable.
Doesn't work.
We have to harmonize with gravity, understand it at its fundamental level, and then utilize it to free ourselves.
And I'm going to propose we have to expand our consciousness.
Absolutely.
That's the fundamental principle.
That is the fundamental principle. It goes hand in hand with us achieving this, and the survival of our species is critical. That we're able to transcend our limitations, go from a society of scarcity based on less there is of something, more value it has, to a society of abundance knowing that there's infinite amount of resources, there's an infinite amount of energy, and the value of something is what somebody does with it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. The currency, the exchange.
That's right.
We'd love to know more about what is going on in your world. We have about a minute and a half left. So tell us how people can find you. I know you have a nonprofit. What's the way that we can get involved in more of your work?
Well, people can go to the Resonance Project Foundation on the internet. The website is resonance.is or resonance is. And we actually have a gift for the listeners today.
We love gifts.
If you go to resonance.is/gift, we have like a 2-hour interview with one of the board of directors of the foundation, asking questions about physics. We had a wonderful time near a fireplace, and we're just talking and talking stories, as we say in Hawaii. And it's really kind of a fun interview because...
Okay, because that was in the past. So that's Nassim Haramein, the Resonance, Black Holes, Sacred Geometry, and Unified Field Theory. That came off of the YouTube channel Cutting Edge. And I just played the last portion of that video. I think it's about 41 minutes long, but it had a lot of great information. But for time's sake, I'm just going to cut it off there. Okay, so before I give my input, did anyone else have anything they wanted to put on it?
Well, I do.
Sure thing.
That's kind of like the ascension stuff. They are trying to self-ascend without the fundamental thing that makes you what you are, and that's that melanin. And so they're going to try to use raw energy as much as they can come to terms with to survive the coming changes, earth changes that's going to hit the planet and are hitting the planet. But it's kind of like what I said in the beginning, is that the energy that our ancestors already had that proved that things can be done has to come back around, because everything comes full circle. And they're going to try to jump on the bandwagon, so to speak, so they can go into the black holes of the universe and be a part of the action. That's what I get out of it. And they have to do that for survival, because it's already scripted, as you said, that this is what's going to destroy or make you great.
Very, very good point. Very good point. Anybody else want to put something on it?
Yeah. It was interesting that he said that they're not going to make it there using fossil fuels or their so-called technology. And he's focusing on flying. The primordial waters, you need to learn how to swim properly.
Absolutely.
That's what's going on with that.
Absolutely.
And, how he... Let's see. Never mind, I'll wait. I think you're about to go there anyway.
Yeah. Okay, because I know you. It's like you were holding back and you can't see me, but I'm sitting here like, So, but yeah, very good point, brother, about both of you guys, sis. You too. The information that he is, Brother Nassim is putting out. He is pretty much telling people that they have to raise their consciousness, or as you say, ascend in order to survive. So that was a very good point with what you were saying. And then I also like, Brother Sean, how you were saying that he made the point, because that's what stuck out for me in the video also, that particular clip anyway, was that they're not going to get it by fossil fuels and rockets, okay? And we've talked about that several times on this show, where I say I don't believe their asses done went to no other planet, especially not the way they said they've gone to the other planets, because they're not telling the truth on the true makeup of not only Mama Earth, but how the universe is structured itself. And like Brother Sean said, you know, they talking about flying when you need to be talking about how to navigate through those primordial waters. Because once again, as I stated earlier in the show, is that, you know, we are surrounded by water. Okay, not space is nothing but water. Even the atmosphere that we're in now is nothing but water. It's just a denser form of water. So very, very good points that both of you all bring up. But I do like how the host of the show had, I think it was the host that brought up to the point that he was talking about, well, what you're saying is that if I want to travel somewhere, that I can do it with thought. And Nassim said, absolutely. So that is going back to the point that we have been making throughout this show, is that your creation process, creating your reality, it starts with the thoughts. So your thoughts translate into an energy frequency that the universe, quote, primordial waters, pick that energy / frequency up, and that's how the creation process takes place. Okay, so the age that we are in now, and we talked about this earlier when Brother Robert was called in on the line, is that we're going to be in the state of now. Swinging back around to the principle of now. Swinging back around to that's how we used to do things. So, in other words, instead of you saying in 5 years I'm going to do X, Y, Z, you create it with a thought instantaneously. You created it there. Okay? Anybody that dreams vividly, a.k.a. astral travel, you know what I'm talking about. You can literally be in that particular dream state or astral traveling in that dimension, and you think something and it appears. Or if something is happening in the dream, you don't like the way it's going, you correct it instantly. So that's the age that we are in. That's the level where we need to be in the principle of now. Okay, so anybody that cannot get to that level, you'll just continue to whatever reality you're creating, that's where you shall be. So in other words, there are no victims. There is nobody holding you back. There is no Messiah coming to save you. You have all that you need to create the environment you want to be in. And that is especially if you are a 9-ether being. Okay. All righty. So, I'm sorry. Go ahead on, brother.
The host also said that. He said, come to realize that everything that you needed was already within you.
That's right. That's right. And the one of the most favorite childhood stories that they push on the planet. And don't sleep on cartoons or those childhood fairy tales, because they always talk about spirituality, is The Wizard of Oz. And I got this from Brother Panic. I never would have thought of it in this light, is that was essentially explaining your chakra system.
Mm-hmm.
And how you take in and process energy. And so Dorothy had went through all of the damn chakras. That's what all of the colors represented.
Mm-hmm.
She went through all of that. Then she gets to Glenda the Good Witch, and Glenda pretty much told her, you had that already in you.
Mm-hmm.
You just had to realize it. So even that particular childhood story was taking you through a journey of the character Dorothy's chakra system. And once she balanced those chakras out, she got the Kundalini rising, and she was able to create her own reality, which for her was going back home. So the exact same concept. They keep putting it out there for you, but they're doing it in a subliminal way, but it is up to you to enter and understand that nothing happens outside of yourself. And that is especially as a perfect black body, 9 ether being.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up cartoons, because with Japanese anime, they start their kids off young. They don't even bother to have it. They talk about the chakras, chaos energy, dark matter, everything. I mean, it's right there. They grow up with it. And then we wonder how come they're able to achieve more than what we are. They using our stuff.
Absolutely.
We scared of it and they using it.
Absolutely.
They can't utilize it to the potential that we can, but what they're able to do with it is more than what we're doing right now.
Exactly, and that's what my point was earlier in the show when we talk about the quote 1%, what they call elite, whatever. Look what they have done with the sacred knowledge. And they're not even using it to the full potential because they're not capable. And they have been able to control the planet because the 9 ether beings are asleep.
In the church.
Yeah, and in the damn church.
You better run them damn preachers off, and our people never be able to use it.
Or in the damn,
but that preacher uses it.
Yeah, but interestingly enough, a lot of the melanated beings, and we have seen this, Brother Wendell, you've seen it, Brother Sean, you've seen it, we have talked about it. Some of them jumped out of the church, jumped into the conscious community, and still looking for a goddamn Messiah.
Exactly. They were still in church. They were still in church.
Yeah, it is. They made it another form of religion. They made it another form of religion. Absolutely. But I do want to be clear, that does not mean because the majority of the 9 ether beings are still asleep that things are not going to happen, because they're already happening. Because you don't need everybody to wake up to make things happen. You only need a certain few. And that's why I say when people ask me, well, what can I do? Create the reality or the world you want to live in. You create it by your thoughts. Okay. All righty. So now, and I think we only have one person in the chat room, 2 people. Somebody just logged on. We're going into overtime in like 2 minutes. I put the number out there if you want to continue with us. It's 929-477-3858, 929-477-3858. Okay, so now I want to go into what is the Merkaba. This is a short clip. It's only 5 minutes long. We're going to come back and talk about the Merkaba. And this is off of YouTube channel Lucid Dreamer. Yes, 6 minutes long. Okay, here we go, family. And we're going into overtime for those of you that are in the chat room.
What is a Merkaba? November 29th, 2016. Like the sun, we must breathe, radiating out all life, and from all life we will receive our mana. Love then is the most intelligent and creative force in the universe. It is literally divine that ties and supports all life and creation together. A Merkaba is an amazing liquid light body energy field extending over 50 feet around a person's body. The Merkaba is a living energy field. It is you and you are it. It is created using a special sequence of coordinated breaths and visualizations. When you are able to think about your Merkaba field every day and feel that unconditional love is part of your everyday life, then the field has become permanent and you will no longer need to do the daily meditation. However, you may choose to carry on because you enjoy the experience. On average, this is 6 months to 1 year after starting the daily routine. Mer means light, Ka means spirit, Ba means soul. Every single thing in the universe has a Merkaba field around it, even a planet. Once all humans had this knowledge, but in our fall from grace in Atlantis we forgot how to breathe correctly through the prana tube and how to maintain our Merkaba fields. We started to breathe instead through our noses and mouths. Human babies are born with an intact Merkaba. The baby's fontanelle is the remnant of the prana tube entering the crown, but it collapses within a few days. Creating a Merkaba surrounding your body is an energy sphere, sometimes called a biosphere. Within this space you can create the Merkaba, a wonderfully responsive thought form. This is an ancient technology, hinted at through the ages, and given many names by various religious and philosophical systems. This has been a secret, closely guarded by the adepts and masters, only recently made available to those seeking transformation, enlightenment and ascension. In the Keys of Enoch, J.J. Hurtak refers to the Merkaba as a vehicle of the vehicles. He says the Merkaba can appear in numerous forms and colors and that it creates and controls time shifting and the intersection of light dimensions. It is a global energy field, which exists outside time and space and thus works as a kind of geometry reference for outer manifestations. The use of a Merkaba opens us considerably to other dimensions and is a sign of spiritual development. Hurtak observes that only a spiritually developed individual is able to invoke and control a Merkaba and will then automatically serve with higher intelligences. Certainly a Merkaba is an interdimensional time travel vehicle, a sort of UFO, which is self-created within the energy field, using concepts of sacred geometry. The process, as taught by the Drunvalo Melchizedek's Flower of Life program, involves a sequence of 17 breaths. To accomplish this feat, a breathing technique is combined with visualization. The technique involves cleansing your star tetrahedron auric field and using sacred geometry, no maths skills required, to create an amazing protective liquid light energy field extending 50 feet around your body. It may seem a little complicated at first, but with time and dedication it is not difficult to master. Joanna's comment, personally, I found meditation almost impossible until I tried this system. I found it very difficult to empty my mind of intrusive mundane thoughts, which constantly distracted me from the peaceful state I was seeking. The structured process of this technique meant that my concentration had to remain focused on the Merkaba creation and other thoughts were unable to penetrate. I have found the Merkaba routine totally life-changing for the better, and I am now able to meditate in almost any format as a result. Merkaba Meditation with Angels course. In this exciting program, the basic Merkaba technique has been enhanced by Angela Mjer to take in the wonderful colors and energies of the angels relevant to the body's chakra system. Angela, author of A Harmony of Angels and Harmony Angel Cards, has created a system which combines a full body healing and the facility for distant healing for others into the daily Merkaba routine. The Merkaba Meditation with Angels is taught by Angela Mjer as part of the Rainbow I Melchizedek Mystery School. Dronvalo Melchizedek. Dronvalo Melchizedek is the person primarily responsible for bringing back knowledge of the Merkaba to human consciousness. Dronvalo studied physics and art at the University of California at Berkeley, but personally feels that his most important education came after college. In the last 25 years he has studied with over 70 teachers from all belief systems and religious understandings, providing him with a wide breadth of knowledge, compassion and acceptance. He is a highly advanced being with phenomenal understanding of most things metaphysical and a close link with the Hopi Indian and many other tribal elders. Not only is Dronvalo's mind exceptional, but his heart, warm personality and love for life everywhere positively exudes from him. He networks his teachings, including the Merkaba meditation, through the Flower of Life organization, www.floweroflife.org. This teaching encompasses every area of human understanding, explores the development of mankind from ancient civilizations to the present day, and offers clarity regarding the world's state of consciousness and what is needed to maintain a smooth transition into the 21st century.
Okay, so that video is What is a Merkaba, and that's off of the YouTube channel Lucid Dreamer. So I'll stop and see if somebody wanted to put something on it before I get into more stuff about the Merkaba or Merkaba.
I like to say, if I may.
Sure,
they done sure tapped into that magnetosphere and got all that the Akashic record off of it, because they know that's where it's contained. That's just all I wanted to say.
Interesting, sis. Very interesting. Hey, Brother Sean?
Yeah. What I heard out of that was system, program. I mean, if I'm a God and you a God, why I need your program?
I'm glad you picked that up, because that's the disclaimer I wanted to put out there on that. But go ahead.
I mean, it's actually that we don't need a certain amount. All we need is one individual. If each person done what they were supposed to do,
right,
would nothing else be their reality? I mean, and those who are vibrating on that frequency, y'all gonna see each other.
Absolutely, you're gonna sync up anyway.
Right,
yep.
You ain't got to look for or wait for nobody. Those who's supposed to be there with you gonna be there, or gonna get there.
Absolutely. So I'm glad you beat me to the disclaimer, because I don't want the family to walk away from this sitting in a lotus position, breathing and shit, and wondering why something's not working. So I don't want you to walk away from this and then you get all pissed off at me. I don't know what the hell sis talking about. I've been breathing for months. And ain't nothing happened. So thank you for bringing that disclaimer up. It's not about no breathing. It's not about buying such and so's book, going to Thus and So's seminar. it's about you, again, going within, controlling your energy, learning your energy centers and how to balance them. Then you're able to activate that, to get the Kundalini rising. And then you're able to activate your Merkaba, okay? And so do a little research on it. I'm going to go into a blurb in a minute breaking it down. But I know you've seen it before where you see the person, pictures of or artist renditions of a person sitting in a lotus position, okay? And then they always show the chakra energy centers. And then they'll show the crown chakra literally with either a lotus on top of the head, a diamond on top of the head, but they are sitting inside a geometric shape. That a geometric shape looks like the Star of David kind of spinning. That Star of David or geometric shape spinning, that is the Merkaba. That is your UFO ship. That's what you use to navigate those primordial waters. Okay? That's what they don't want to tell you about for the most part. Okay? But you can only get there by going within. So I can't give you no formula for you personally to activate your own Merkaba. That takes personal spiritual work on your part to do that. And by all means, it takes vibrating at a high frequency level to activate that crown chakra to trigger your Merkaba or your Merkaba. That's what it takes. Absolutely, Brother Sean, go ahead.
Got to get them atoms to emit that light. It took it in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you have to take the high frequency or high light, ultraviolet light, unseen to the naked eye that the universe has floating around, process it to activate it. So absolutely. There's another video out there, and they claim, now I'm going to put claim as the operative word, just like somebody put on the Facebook post that the call-in number to this show, all of a sudden it wasn't correct on my promo. Whatever. Not going to stop the message. But same with this particular video, 13 Masonic Secrets / secret number 8, the Merkaba. They took the sound away from the video, but the person had written out everything that they were trying to say. They claim it had something to do with the copywritten music, whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and read you from the video, but again, this is off. The name of the video is 13 Masonic Secrets / secret number 8, the Merkaba, and it's off a YouTube channel called UnCONPromeyezed. Okay, so it says the Merkaba is the divine light vehicle. There goes that light again, but this time we're talking vehicle. Allegedly used by ascendant masters to connect with and reach those in tune with the higher realms. So perfectly on point what Brother Sean was saying, that if you doing what you supposed to do, creating your own reality and reaching those higher realms, you're going to meet up with other people on those same frequencies as well. Okay, so Mer means light, Ka means spirit, Ba means body. And I've heard that Ba means soul, if I'm not mistaken, but whatever. Merkaba means spirit body surrounded by counter-rotating fields of light, wheels within wheels, spiral of energy, as in DNA, which transport spirit body from one dimension to another. In modern esoteric teachings, it is taught that the Merkaba is an interdimensional vehicle consisting of two equally sized interlocked tetrahedra of light with a common center where one points up and the other down. This point symmetric form is called a stellar octagula or stellid octagon, which can also be obtained by extending the faces of a rectangle octagon until they intersect again. In his book, researcher and psychologist Dreveno Melchizedek, I just love his little name, that Melchizedek, describes this figure as the star tetrahedron, since it can be viewed as 3D Star of David. Okay, so I'm going to pause right there. So anybody that knows the fake It's Not Real or Israel, you over in Africa that they didn't rename Middle East, whatever, on their flag they have the Star of David. Okay, so hopefully now we're starting to see the power of these symbols, which is your ancient sciences 9 ether beings that they're using. I'm sorry, sis, go ahead on.
That they call that the tree of life, and it's Spectral, and that's the Kabbalah for the vehicle of Yahweh, who is used as a vehicle in Christianity. Yod He Vav He, the tetragrammaton. So that's it's a really powerful little thing that they're using because that's how life, they say, was created, by your request using certain, like Buddha, but scriptures or words and mathematics that makes things happen. And that is one of the methods they have used to dumb us down, to be honest with you, and to control the dimensions, this third dimension. So that, I have a book called the Sefer Yetzirah, and I'm very familiar with Judaism, by the way. And so it's a very, very interesting book because they have some history that things were created using the tree of life, or the Sephiras, or the Darth and whatever the other ones at the top. The crown chakra is up at the top.
Right.
It's the same difference as the body. It's just with upside down pyramids intersecting together.
Exactly.
So, and some of us keep staying in that lower self, and you don't rise to the top of the pyramid.
Absolutely, and which is your crown chakra.
Crown chakra. Yep.
Absolutely. Very good, sis. I'm glad that you brought that in. So, and you, family, you could go on YouTube and pull up videos about Kabbalah, and you will see the symbols that sis is referring to, how it is structured as the tree of life, and they'll even show you, and we've discussed this on this show before, and I've also in the promo showed you what that Kabbalah tree of life looks like. I've also showed you the numbering system. And they use that to manifest, as Sis said. They could either use it with letters, because each letter is corresponded with a number. So they're basically using numbers, because the universe operates in numbers as well, because numbers can also translate into frequencies, which translates into light. So anyhow, they're using this Kabbalah tree, per se, as she said, for manifestation. Okay? So they're using it in that scientific sense. You, as a 9 ether being, you don't have to draw out no damn tree and count no damn numbers.
Exactly.
You do it with your thoughts.
Exactly.
You don't have to do all that. Go get it, learn it, twist, turn, this, that, and the third. You are that powerful of a being that you do it with your thoughts. But others have to work damn hard to create, when you can do it just in a milli of a second with a thought. So very, very interesting. Very good point, sis. Okay, so it says, by imagining two superimposed, and this is going back to what you were saying, sis, star tetradrans as counter-rotating along with a specific prana breathing technique, certain eye movements, and mantras. So that's basically going back to what the lady was saying up in the video about breathing. But once again, I want to put the disclaimer in there. You know, as a 9 ether being, now if you want to use that technique to get yourself centered, you can, but it is not a requirement. So again, don't be sitting your raggedy butt on no floor for no 3-4 months breathing and then get pissed off at me. There's nothing happening. Again, you have to go within. It's all about your thoughts, controlling your energy, controlling your emotions to balance everything out. Okay. But other folks have to do all of that. You, as a 9 ether being, don't have to do that. But if you want to use that technique, to each his own. That's certainly up to you. Okay. It is taught that one can activate a non-visible saucer shaped energy field around the human body that is anchored at the base of the spine. Okay? UFOs might not be what you thought. Could jinn or other beings have perfected this technique? Depending on the height of the person doing the exercise, this field is about 55 feet across. So they're just, once again, giving you the measurement of the Merkaba, okay? So, which also lets you know, if they giving you the damn measurement, that means they have seen it, okay? All right. So once activated, the saucer-shaped field is capable of carrying one's consciousness directly to higher dimensions. Could UFOs be higher dimensional beings traveling around in Merkaba? Okay, so I think I told this story last week, and forgive me if I said it last week, but I'm going to say it again because this warrants this. When I had ran across a video with one guy who was, I don't know if he was meditating. I can't remember if he was meditating or he was dreaming, and he wanted one of the higher dimensional beings to come and pick him up in a spaceship. So the being, he went to sleep, so I'm assuming he was meditating. He went to sleep, and so the spaceship showed up in his dream. I can't remember if it showed up in his dream or if it showed up when he was meditating. But anyhow, He was like, okay, well, cool. I'm ready to roll with you. And he said that the particular being told him, no, you have to come in your higher dimensional spirit body. So in other words, the being was telling him, you have to meet me in this higher dimensional realm via your Merkaba. So the particular man said that, you know, he wound up waking up because obviously he didn't know how to activate that Merkaba to take those particular journeys. Okay, so in Arabic, the term Merkaba means vehicle, and in Hebrew, it means chariot. Okay, so in Ezekiel chapter 1, verses 4 through 26, the word Merkaba is used to describe the chariot of God, the four-wheeled vehicle driven by four cherubim, each of which has four wings and four faces. Okay, so I'm going to pause there because anytime they talk about that particular book, Ezekiel, they always talk about, with those of us that study this stuff, that they're speaking on UFOs or esoteric stuff. But now, you know, we're seeing that they're actually talking about you as the God navigating your own UFO spaceship, which is your Merkaba. Okay, and so it goes on to say the tablets of thought has the concept of as above, so below, and which are the two triangles like Sis described. One triangle being upright, the other being in the down position, and they interlock. Okay. It says the Masonic symbol of the compass, two triangles stacked on top of each other with the G in the middle. They're saying that it's the representation of the Merkaba. Okay, so anybody, and now hopefully when you see that Masonic symbol of the compass, you will look at it in a different light. Now, when, you know, they revealed in this video the Masonic symbol of the compass, and they said, they say that the G in Masonry stands for gate. So in other words, the G stands for gateway or portal. I also say that G stands for God, meaning you. You're the being, you're the G inside of that compass or that Merkaba, driving that UFO to whatever dimension you choose to go to. And so I just concluded with this particular video saying that each of us has a world within us. We are our own walking universe or multiverse. Okay, so again, that was from a YouTube channel called 13 Masonic Secrets /Secret number 8, the Merkaba, off a YouTube channel under Koffer, ONDER KOFFERV. Okay, so I'll pause in case somebody has something they want to put on it.
Yeah. To me, that's also taking it back to, once again, Japanese anime. When they're able to activate their light body suits, they aura glows, and they're able to fly. They're even able to teleport to other dimensions. They call it instantaneous transmission, where he literally picks up and points his fingers to his pineal gland. And he's able to teleport himself to wherever he wants to go, whether it's in other dimensions, other planets.
Wow.
They're being taught this early.
In the Japanese cartoons.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they cover everything. I mean, stuff that we consider black magic or voodoo. Mm-hmm. They cover the spirit realms. They have chants, sigils. They teach them early.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And as the 9 ether beings, that's why it goes back to when folks say, "What can I do?" You do your part and vibrate at the higher frequency rate. And when you do that, you're going to even learn what is your quote life purpose on this plane or in this age, because you wrote your own spiritual contract. You know what you came back here to do. It's just activating yourself to tap into those Akashic records to get to work, to get to doing it. And so I'm saying all that to say each and every one of us has an individual talent. So for all of the artists out there that, and some of the artists, their contract was to come back and put out some bullshit, but some of the other artists that may be struggling with truly what their identity is, that could be a part of it. And I'm talking to the 9 ether melanated beings. That could be a part of it, that you're supposed to be putting out particular work like that to target the 9 ether beings to help get that information out to them. So that's very, very interesting, brother. Okay. I'll pause in case somebody else wants to put something on it. Okay. We're going to go into the very last video for the night. And this is what I was discussing with Brother Robert earlier about the living in the concept of now. And this is a video by a sister off a YouTube channel called Do Better for Yourself Coach. And the name of it is How to Use the Merkaba to Create from Your 5D High Vibration Light Body. So hopefully by now we know what that statement means. So let me find this video. It's not going to be that long. Let me see here. Hopefully. Doggone it. I have to make sure. Okay, I might have to go through a couple videos. I don't think I did it, labeled it right, so I might have to stop it. So here we go, family.
Hi, in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to operate from a high state of consciousness and awareness, and how to carry these high frequencies and vibrations into our daily lives, and also how to create our realities from these high vibrations. How do we bring the highest versions of ourselves into our material reality? How do we operate from these high frequencies, from our 5D vibrational bodies or our light bodies in this physical realm? How do we bring the 5D version of ourselves into the 3D world? This is what I'm going to be talking about based on my own learning and my own remembering and what I am doing to consciously carry this energy to help me or assist me in navigating this 3D world. It truly is a new day. It truly is a new time. we are truly, truly experiencing high energies. We are truly, truly remembering new things. There's new wisdom, new understanding, new everything. And when we have new everything, it means it's time for a new way of being. So for us, most of us who are experiencing these energies, which is majority of the people out here in this beautiful world, we are all experiencing these energies. And the thing is, how do we, as 5D high vibrating beings, consciously carry this energy and operate and navigate this 3D world successfully? That's the question. So I'm going to be talking about a tool that helps me navigate this 3D world successfully by helping me consciously remember that I am a carrier of these high frequency energies and that I can operate in this world from that perspective. So perhaps this tool will be useful for somebody out there. But you know, the way things are changing, some of the old energies, most of us have understood it or are getting there. We now know that some of these old ways of working, however attractive they were, they are no longer working because the energies are dying off. The energies are no longer supported. Something like the law of attraction. It is a way that helped us a lot in creating and manifesting our realities in this world, in the old 3D energies. It may work at this moment for some, it may not work for others. I don't know. But I'm just sharing that some of these old energies are losing their energies because the vibrations are coming that are forcing us or causing us to operate from other dimensions and through other means. So the law of attraction worked in this way. You have a mental image, and then you have emotions around that image of what you want to achieve or whatever idea you want to achieve. And then based on your emotional state, you would attract things to you that would help you materialize that idea or that mental vision that you had for yourself. So it was what your the mental image, the emotions, and then the attractions. So your emotions had to be on point. If your emotions were not on point, you would end up attracting to yourself things that would nullify what you wanted to create, things that would ruin or attract to you different things from what the original objective was. That is how the law of attraction works. The image, the emotions, and then the attraction. So you get what you want based on you having your emotions on point. If your emotions are not on point, you get something else. That's how it works. In this new energies, it's a little different. It's way different. Now we are remembering that we are masters and we are creating our realities, not based on the law of attraction, but based on the state of our vibrational beings. We are creating as masters, creating realities based on our vibrational state. And this is so important in remembering because this is not about emotions anymore. It's about how we are being, who we are, how we are showing up. It has nothing to do with emotions. And I'll give an example here of how I have learned to distinguish between what emotions are in relation to creation and what a state of being is in relation to creation. And I'm going to use love as my example. Love is really not an emotion. I mean, most of us perceived it in that way, love as an emotion. But I'm learning that love is really a state of being. It is just how it is. It is what it is. Just like the ocean is just the ocean. Whether we have waves or not does not change the fact that the ocean is just the ocean. Emotions are totally different things. They're usually up or down, and they really don't represent the true picture of what love is. So love is really a vibration. Love is a state of being. Love is who we are. So this is how we need to be. This is who we are. We are love. So when we are creating in these new energies, we are going to be operating from this state of being. This is what is going to be drawing to us the things that we want in this material time, this particular time, and it will have nothing to do with our emotional state of being, which I really, really feel is a great, great relief, because all we have to do is just be. It is no longer about doing in order to manifest. It is just about being in our natural state of love and allowing that attraction, that vibration to spread out into the universe and bring to us based on frequency, based on vibration. And I just think it is just so wonderful because, I mean, really, how cool is it that we can really be operating from being us, just being us, being in our natural state? It's such a good way of just relieving stress, because we are no longer doing. We are just being. So cool. I really, really love it. So I'm going to share with you one of the tools that has really helped me bring in this high frequency in this material realm. That tool is the Merkaba. The Merkaba or the Merkaba. I don't know how it's pronounced or how anyone else pronounces it. Some of these words, oh my God. Anywho, this tool has really, really, really been helping me in learning how to remembering how to bring these high frequency energies into my 3D life at this particular time. A Merkaba is a light body vehicle. It's the light body vehicle. And inside the Merkaba is your light body. And I'm going to explain to you how I use this Merkaba to help me bring in these energies. And the purpose of a Merkaba is really to help us in interdimensional travel. So since we are now multi-dimensional beings, when we are inside our light bodies, our higher selves are inside this light body vehicle. When we can visualize our higher selves being inside our Merkaba, our light ship, and our vehicles, we can really travel and navigate very, very successfully life on the 3D realm. We are up in the high vibrations and we are traveling to 3D without losing ourselves, because we are here as our higher selves in this light body vehicle. Obviously, the light body vehicle is not operating through low vibrations. So we are always sure when our light body is spinning, is inside this Merkaba, we are definitely operating in high frequencies. And that is a great, great relief. So let me just show you another way that I visualize this and use the Merkaba. I have this diagram that really helps me to create a vision of how I see myself inside this light body vehicle. I see myself raising my vibrations from 3D, intending to be my highest self in 3D. And as a result, as I ascend in 3D upward, my higher self descends my higher self descends into 3D, and it settles in wonderfully inside this light body. So I, in 3D, intend to ascend, and as I intend to ascend, my higher self comes from 5D into my 3D experience and settles inside this Merkaba as I see it. So I love to use this visualization symbol, two tetrahedrons merging together, and me inside this as my light body operating and spinning 3D, 5D, 3D, and into all other dimensions. It is such a beautiful tool. And what I see in the end is this beauty over here. I see myself settling in, just as you can see in this picture, settling in a calm state of vibration, operating from love, operating from high frequencies in this 3D world. So no matter what situation I find myself in, situations that don't make me comfortable or situations that I'm not really sure how to navigate, just seeing myself and visualizing my higher self descending as I choose to, by intention, to be my highest self. I see my light body coming in and settling into my heart chakra, and from this space, I can really navigate, relationships and navigate circumstances that I might not be comfortable with or that I'm not sure about from a very, very high perspective. When something happens to me that I would normally have a very not so good reaction, I would think to myself, Caroline, this is you as your higher self showing up on the scene. How is your higher self going to handle this situation? And based on this, I'm able now to really consciously be more aware of who I am and be able to see, you know what, this is me. I am in a state of love. I'm in a state of peace and calm and joy. So what would I do? What would I do as this peaceful vibration, as this loving vibration, as this joyful vibration? How would I handle this situation? So this tool is really, really helping me a lot in bringing these high frequencies and remembering that I am this high frequency being, and the way that I'm approaching life is now different, and I can consciously choose in every moment how I want to be. And I tell you, it's just been a blast experimenting with being this me in this 3D world at this time. So I'm sure that someone would benefit from using this tool in their lives. I mean, some people get it already. Some people may not get it and may need assistance in reminding themselves, you know, how to be or how to bring in these new energies. And I tell you, it is so powerful. Just remembering that and just seeing yourself in your body vehicle, the Merkaba, and light, you spinning around and operating, it kind of gives you an access and permission, really, if you need it, to really, really be the best that you can be in every circumstance. So I highly recommend this tool. And I also want to say that I also highly recommend when we buy crystals, sometimes it's very important to get crystals in the shape of sacred geometry, because these sacred geometry tools are very powerful energies. You know, they explode energy into your force field of light. That's how powerful they are. You might not understand how they work, but these things have an energy projection that comes into the energy field of the individual that's using them. And they can really, truly open up portals and dimensions and knowings and rememberings. So you might not get it in the beginning, why you have a particular crystal in the shape of a sacred geometrical shape, but it surely is working. So if you have a tool like this, you can always work with it to remind you of your high vibrational status, which is so cool because we are all here, and also to remind you of who you are and how you can be, and that you truly are not blocked. You can always travel from dimension to dimension to gather information and come back and just be who you are meant to be. So you can wear this as jewelry. I've seen some beautiful jewelry pieces of this, or you can just have an image somewhere that you can occasionally look at to remind you of how to be, or you can just draw the symbol of as above, so below, and see yourself in between in the center, projecting light outward, manifesting and operating as the high frequency, high vibration being, carrying these energies from 5D to 3D and operating successfully in this world. I love you guys. It's time to keep vibrating. These are beautiful times of high energies and changes. Just open up and allow, and let's just be and not keep doing. I love you so much. So excited. Bye.
All right, family. So that was the video, how to use the Merkaba to create from your 5D high vibration light body. And that's from the YouTube channel. Do Better for Yourself Coach. Okay, real quick, the diagram that she was showing you so you can get a visual, she drew out the Merkaba. So as we discussed, the Merkaba is a triangle, and then a triangle upside down imposed on top of each other, and then you as the being sits in the middle of that, okay? So that interlocking triangle itself is the spaceship. So as you sit in your Merkaba, it spins based on the vibrational rate. That is how you navigate to the higher dimension. And so you control where you want that Merkaba light body vehicle to go. Okay? So that's what she was describing to you, that you could use one of the techniques to visualize yourself, and that's a term called visualization, and athletes use that as well. But anyhow, you can use that as a technique on yourself as the being sitting inside of that Merkaba, getting centered, and it's spinning, and you just traveling. So that was just one of the tips that she used. Now, it's interesting, Brother Wendell, you started off at the beginning of the show saying that you had went to Kroger, whatever. You come back to the crib, and it was a ring laying on your floor, and you said the ring had love on it. And you said you didn't know where that particular ring came from. And it's interesting that in this particular video, this sister talked about how when we're in our Merkabas, at the, going to the higher dimensions, getting information, and then it comes back or manifest. I talked about that earlier. Brother Sean and I manifest in this 3D realm. So I'm just putting that out there about your ring showing up on your floor. I'm just saying.
I didn't ask for no ring. It just showed up. I don't know what the hell's going on with that right there.
You say you didn't ask for it. You asked for it. You done set up and asked for it. You went up to the higher realm and got that ring. You ain't fooling us.
I don't remember what the hell I asked for, but it showed up.
I'm just saying. That's no coincidence to me that the little ring showed up in the physical and it has the word love written on it. So I'm just saying.
That's a hint and a half for you. That's a hint and a half for you. It's your reminder.
Exactly.
I reckon it might be. We'll see what happens with that thing.
Exactly. You was in your Merkaba, kicking it, doing something, and that ring showed up in the physical. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it have his little place over there. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That's an awesome testimony. It really is, Brother Wendell. That is absolutely awesome.
Somebody saw him when he was kicking it in his light bodysuit. His body was the same frequency. She's like, oh, okay, I know where you at now. I got you.
Exactly. So when you come on this program, introducing your lady friend.
Oh, you're going to make me do like Fred and Sample. You should do stuff that rub my chest. Oh. I don't think it's going down,
we just going to remind you, and I'll just, pull up a clip and play it on the show.
Exactly.
Now you say what? Oh, boy. Okay, family, so we're going to wind down, so I'm going to ask for last words. Sis, you still with us? Okay, I'm not sure if she dropped off. I see her on the board. Sis, are you there? Okay, I'm not sure if she dropped off. All right. Well, Brother Sean, you have any last words for the family?
As always, go within. I mean, every topic we cover, we somehow get back to going within.
Absolutely.
Ain't no way around it.
No, it's really not. It's really not. Okay, I think that's Sis again. Sis, are you there?
I'm on my son's phone. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Good. I dropped it off by mistake and I couldn't get back in, and he's been piped me in.
Okay, cool, because I saw a 661 drop, so I wasn't for sure.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay. You have any last words for the family?
So she had a very good way of tapping into the Merkaba or the Merkaba or whatever. And that is to visualize yourself as in that vehicle.
That's right.
Ezekiel used that, and Thorpe used it as well in Egyptian mythology when he was using a tablet to create human beings. So you create, we are such creative people. We have the atom inside of us, and we have the heat signatures that make us rise up to the frequency we need to be in to be creators. And that's basically what they're all saying. Some use the Merkaba, but and you do use the Merkaba because you do your crown chakra, and you get to your elevated self, your crown, your pineal, and that melanin, and you can make life what you want it to be. Absolutely. You can do anything you want.
Absolutely. Very, very beautifully said, sis. You summed up the show just absolutely perfect. Thank you for that, sis. Okay, Brother Wendell, you have any last words for the family?
Yeah, just pay attention. Because I came home and found a ring on the floor. I know damn well it wasn't there when I left here.
Exactly. So just remember, you was in your Merkaba kicking it on some dimension, and the ring, exactly. You created something, and the little ring just showed up to just let you know that the process has started, whatever that process is. So absolutely, that's a beautiful, beautiful situation.
Yeah.
That is truly, truly beautiful. It is extremely beautiful.
But I ain't never been a person. I ain't never won jewelry. Never.
That's what makes it even more beautiful, though, because I don't know. Is it a gold ring? May I ask?
It looks like a gold ring because it's a little weathered, but it looks sort of like silver. You know what I'm saying? But you know, hey, the only time I had any interest in jewelry when I was like 8, 9 years old. I used to always like digital watches. But when I put it on, it would go dead. I take it off, it would come back up. So I had to rule out watches.
Yeah, you was vibrating too high. That's why it was going dead. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
Had it. After that, I never had any interest in jewelry. Period.
Wow.
To this day, I don't wear jewelry.
Well, I find that interesting, and I just wanted to know if it was some type of metal, and it sounds like it is. I just think that's a beautiful, beautiful story. And that ain't even a story. It's something that
ain't no story. That shit there for real, cuz.
Exactly. It's fact. That's just simply beautiful. It truly, truly, truly is. So that is truly something from the higher dimension.
And he didn't even sit down with red ink and put it into action.
Right.
Nope.
Right. So that goes back to what the lady was just saying in the little video, that we don't have to do all of those things anymore. It's just at the state of being from a higher vibrational state and just being in the now. But as she said, for some people, you could still do the rituals, etc., and it, will work for you or whatever, but you don't have to do that because of the age that we're in. And that goes back to what I was saying, where, don't be sitting on no damn floor breathing 175 times and getting pissed the shit ain't working. Or looking at some Kabbalah tree calculating some shit and get pissed because it ain't working, because you don't have to go through all of that. You're a 9 ether being. Just get on that higher frequency rate. I'm sorry, go ahead on, brother.
Also, like she said, about love. I could have sworn she'd been on my Facebook page.
Okay.
That it's a state of being. I mean, it's just what you are. It's nothing you have to work at. If you have to go all outside of yourself to prove that you love somebody, I mean,
it ain't. That's not what it is. Exactly. That's not what it is. So real quick, thank you so much, family. I'm not sure if we'll be back next week. I'm trying to secure a scheduled guest. We're kind of playing phone tag. If I'm able to secure the guest, we'll definitely have a show next week. If not, I'm going to take that opportunity to take a break. But just check Facebook for the promos, or you can subscribe to us on Blog Talk, and anytime I create a show, you'll automatically get notified. Real quick before I forget, I keep forgetting to say this. For anyone that wants to keep working with chakras, I learned this trick from Brother Phil Valentine, that you could take a quick glance at the sun, look away, close your eyes, whatever color spectrum you see, that's where you are on the chakra vibrational system. Trust me, it works. So with that said, family, we may be back next week. We may not. I want to thank you all for your love and your support. Thank you to my panel. I love you all very much. Love you, family. I want to say peace and love and vibrate higher. And with that, we are going to rock out with some Frankie Beverly. I doubt it if we get to it because it's going to cut off. So anyway, love you, family. Peace and love.
Love you. Peace and love. Peace and love.